show coming from the rack store. With this back in the Mac in the back flow. Let's go, chillin' with raccoons by the back door. Take calls so you can stake more. All I wanna do is making dough, right? But I found this crew and doing alright. We wreck, will bitch, ready to fight. So many raccoons ready for the boss life. I might fly high like a kite, right? But always ready for a shite for the right price. Raccoon supply has the right price. Giving you respect if it's likewise. So I'm buying all the mean guys with the clean heart. Read between lies, laser beam through lean eyes. Warrior with clean lies, trash mouth, mean smile, be wise. NFT wise, fuck with these guys. It's the rack lab from the back lab. 110 of these in my backpack. Crazy rack lab from the stash app. Rack will take a lead in this haystack. It's the rack.
Good morning, RAC FM guys. How are we doing today? It's Friday, May the 26th, and it's 0800 EST. What does the O stand for? Oh my God, what a special guest we have on the show tonight. However, guys, it appears that we're getting rugged. My co-host B-Bands cannot get in the room. So what I'm going to do, I've sent Liam a speaker invite. I'm quickly going to jump out of the app and back in, and fingers crossed, guys, we can get this fixed. B-Bands is back. Right, B-Bands, hold fire. I'm going to jump out and back in. That fixed it last night. I can see Billy's having problems as well. I don't know if Liam can accept the speaker invite, but it looks like we've got another ruggy space. So guys, here, 1 minute. I'll jump out and back in. Hopefully, we'll get the show on the road. So, B-Bands, I did... we've got Liam up. B-Bands, I did send you a co-host direct to your DMs, by the way. Without further ado, though, guys, I know we're having problems, but hello, Liam. I presume it's a good afternoon for you, brother, is it?
Yes, it is. Can you hear me okay, by the way?
Oh, you're absolutely perfect, dude. Yeah. What about me? Am I okay? Because sometimes I do have a few mic problems. Am I all right?
Yeah, all good here. For some reason, when I first joined, there was like no audio coming through my phone. But yeah, I think it's fine because you were fine on PC and it seems to be working now. So yeah, how you doing, man? How is everything? How's everything in the RAC FM world?
Fantastic, mate. Yeah, we've got a new POA to drop, a special one, considering you're here. I tell you what, mate, we're absolutely blessed. I was going to say on the Spaces front, though, I heard about Elon getting rugged on his own space the other day. Did you hear about that? Yeah,
I didn't actually, but that's quite ironic.
Bro, I mean, wouldn't you be deploying like resources, like somehow, like wouldn't you? Like if you were Elon, you'd have done something, right, to make sure you weren't going to get rugged. Yeah.
Well, if he's getting rugged and he can't fix it for himself, then I guess it's got a bit of a problem, maybe.
Well, Liam, I don't know if you've noticed, right, but the Spaces figures have actually been quite low recently across the board for many shows, right? And I do think that people are just starting to get, like, pissed off now. I think it's getting to the point where, like, it's becoming so unreliable as, like, a media platform that, you know, people are just going to lose interest in the end, right?
Yeah, I think so. And actually, I've had some problems, like, uploading videos and stuff as well. And this was with an account with Twitter Blue. So, yeah, I think there is a point where you just do get fed up with stuff. So, yeah, I can understand, actually. So, yeah, I understand what you're saying, for sure.
Oh, B-Band's just devastated, Liam. She's been really looking forward to you, right? All bloody week as well. And now she can't get in. Oh, I don't know what's going on. She's not going to be happy, you know. Dude, she's been baking.
It's a nightmare.
She's been baking cookies and everything for you, dude.
Oh, man. Well, hopefully she'll still be able to make it at some point. We've got a bit of time, right?
Yeah, I'll have to have a look to see if sometimes the Twitter drops updates and sometimes people will update and sometimes people won't, you know. Guys, if anybody is having problems, I do say, because Billy, I can see you've been in a few times, probably jump in the App Store and see if there's maybe an update dropped, because that sometimes, I've turned automatic updates back on since they've like regularly been updating Twitter. But yeah, Liam, I just wanted to ask you, mate. So, Liam, you decided to have like a little bit of a change in kind of career path recently, right? Sort of, you've dropped down a little bit from doing as much content, is that right? And went to do some stuff for Omniflix, yeah? How's it working out, bro?
Yeah, I mean, it's been much better. I don't know how it's for you guys, but for me, it was there was like a lot of like self pressure when making content. Like I felt like I had to like make all this content for the community, and I wasn't really getting paid by anyone to make any content. So yeah, I think it just got to a point where I was like, look, you know what? Like I've done a lot for the community. I can't keep making videos every day. Like I need to pay my rent. I've got bills to pay. I want to keep my investments, not sell them to pay off, my rent and stuff. So I was like, hey, I'll do something different for a while, see how I feel. And I can always come back to content later, right? I mean, it's not like crypto is going anywhere. I think it's here to stay. So I can always come back to content another time. So yeah, I think it's all going well.
How long, Liam, were you? I mean, you must have been making content for about 2 years or something, were you? Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's pretty much bang on. I think I started during lockdown, actually. So around 2020.
Wow. So even longer, right? Because you only stopped like a couple of months ago, right? Like this year, I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere around January, February. So yeah, a couple months ago, maybe about 5 months ago now.
And so what's it been like over at working with the guys at Omniflix? Because from personal experience, I mean, they're some of the nicest guys I've ever worked with in crypto. Not that I've worked with like many, but they're just literally so bloody helpful, man. It's unbelievable, you know.
Oh, they're great. Sisla's amazing. Like, we've always been like good friends anyway since we I guess since I discovered Omniflix, and we had a few chats back in maybe 2021 or something like that. Yeah, I think they're just an amazing team. Like they're always wanting to collaborate and like support, creators, support other teams, help with, events like Cosmoverse as an example. So yeah, I think they're one of the best teams to work with. Yeah, I'd say working with them myself, it's not really changed much in terms of, like how I speak with Sisla, how Sisla speaks with me. So really, it's just been a great way to keep involved in the community. So yeah, I've loved it. How do you find it? Because you've done a few things with Omniflix, right? RAC FM has.
Oh, dude, honestly, the platform is just flawless. It's such a lovely experience. And if you've tried to do like, bulk minting on Juno, on DAO with like custom contracts, pain in the backside. Stargaze, I mean, it's not that difficult, but it's still a lot more complicated for non-dev people, right? Dude, Omniflix is just such a joy. It's like, really is just so cool to use,
How do you find like the two interfaces from like a user perspective, like between say like Stargaze and Omniflix? Like, how do you find it? Like, not from the creator perspective, but from like a user standpoint.
Yeah, the Omniflix one is just a lot simpler, a lot easier, a lot slicker. Like with the Omniflix one, you haven't got to go and like triple check everything. And there's also not this real need to do everything on testnet. With Stargaze, kind of in case you make a mistake, you kind of feel like you have to do everything on testnet first. So you're kind of doing everything twice, I mean, I'm not here to shit on Stargaze or anything, but last night we were talking about this and about how the platforms are so different from one another. And, how, it's all about this like media, content creation, ability to engage with your audience. That's what Omniflix is about. You're not going to release a 10K PFP collection on Omni, but, you're going to release like videos on there or webinars or something, right? Whereas like Stargaze is that like PFP kind of, that's the way I look at it, I tell you what, Liam, what about the gaming side of things? So it's one of the reasons that you've decided to have a bit of a change. And guys, by the way, I'm getting a message, DMs off B-Bands to say the reason no one's here is because the space is not working, which is pretty bad, like, but at least we've got the recording anyway. Hopefully, yes, Bruce or Finn will be joining soon. But yeah, Liam, did you decide to get into, like, I believe you used to be a big gamer, or are you still a big gamer? Is that what you're intending to do?
Yeah, I mean, I was looking into like gaming in Cosmos, right? And I think the problem is there's not really like much of a gaming culture here yet. Like there are gamers around. There's people who are like interested in gaming, but there's not really as much going on gaming wise as you see in, Polygon or other kind of like Web3 areas. So I haven't really pursued it any further in terms of like the crypto sense. But in terms of like, Web 2, like I'm a massive gamer. I do like Smash Bros tournaments. So I play that competitively. Also play a lot of Rocket League, but less competitively. And I do love a story-based kind of game as well, like open world, single player ones. So yeah, massive gamer, man.
Did you see the GTA 6 announcement about the crypto, yeah?
I actually haven't, no. What was that? What happened?
Just come out, yeah. Basically, in GTA 6, you're going to be able to earn, or what you earn in the game is going to be paid in crypto. And there's going to be like a kind of like ability to be able to like off-ramp it into USD.
Really?
Yeah. GTA 6, quite an interesting prospect, that, isn't it?
It is, if that's something they follow through on. Yeah, that's massive.
Well, I mean, that's going to be like way ahead in Web3 gaming circles, really, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Well, this is what we need, really. We do need some like Web 2 games to transition over, because they're the ones that are going to build like a UI that the everyday normal person's going to want to use. So I think it's great.
Actually, talking about your content creation, I see that you had to go back to it, albeit temporary, for the Neutron airdrop, was it?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, true. That was with Stake Cito. So yeah, I guess you could say I went back to it, but yeah, that was just a 5-minute tutorial, so that wasn't too much.
Oh, I forgot about that as well. Yeah, are you doing the governance over there, or are you doing the governance like investigations and feedback? Forgot about that, right?
Yeah. No, I'm trying to. I'm trying to do like a lot of the governance for Stake Cito around the Cosmos Hub, Juno, Stargaze, Injective, like a few other chains as well. And it's interesting, it's interesting. I think there's a lot of challenges around governance. And of course, it's very political, so you get a lot of emotions running high and stuff as well, and a lot of DPS. So it's been interesting, man. That's for sure.
Isn't that the biggest battle moving forward, Liam? Right? How do you make governance sexy? Simple fact of life, right? Like NFTs, sexy. Even meme coins. They can be a bit sick. Governance. I mean, one of the worst things we've got, in my opinion, is Commonwealth. That's one of the biggest issues. People just don't want to bother with Commonwealth,
Yeah, I think you're right. From what I've seen, like there's very little engagement in Commonwealth. It's kind of like a place for the I don't want to say the inner circle. It's not the term I think it's the best term, but it's like where like maybe people who are very active in governance or developers, they're the only ones that are really engaging on these like Commonwealth forums. I think most of the everyday community just wants to chat it out in Twitter Spaces, on Twitter, or just not even bother at all. It depends really on the person, I think.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I mean, Juno passed a resolution where everything has to go through Commonwealth before it can go on chain. So now with Juno, we've got no bloody choice, But if you don't have those initial discussions on Twitter, you're never going to get any traction on Commonwealth, none whatsoever.
Yeah, it's kind of like a weird one, because I think it's good to have like procedures leading up to a proposal going on chain. Just make sure like the wording's not ambiguous or done poorly, and it can just make sure like the proposal's like refined to a good point before it goes on chain. But like you say, like no one really goes on Commonwealth, so it's not really even that effective to do it that way. So it's a difficult one, because I think it should be put somewhere where people view before it goes live on chain. But it's just, where do you put it? Because even Twitter's pretty fragmented in terms of having like conversations about these things.
I'll tell you what I do like though, Liam. We interviewed Jared and Zion from Terra last night. And because I've been doing some stuff on like Enterprise and messing around with Station Wallet, I really like the fact that like you've got all the governance like in one place now. I think this is key moving forward. Have you used much of Terra Station yet, the Station Wallet?
Do you know what? That's actually one I've just never really got around to using. So I'm just not familiar with Terra Station, and obviously, Terra's not the same as it was before, but I'm not really familiar with Terra now or Terra, back when Anchor and stuff was available. But yeah, I'm sure you've got stuff you can tell me about it.
Liam, I'll tell you what, when you peep under the hood at what they're developing over there, the projects they've got, they're working on, the very fact that they're focused on like rebuilding their reputation as like a priority. I've been quite impressed with some of the projects I've been finding. And I mean, I know Feather's going to be like quite a way away, but things like Alliance, Station, Emulate, Entropy, there's some amazing tech. But what I'm really like interested in this time is, I said to like Jared and them last night, you know, Terra never seemed to be really engaged in utilizing like IBC for what it was meant to be. You know, like Terra came in the eco, they had their eyes on Solana, Avalanche, you know, they were all over the place, right? Building that market cap, yeah. Whereas this time with Terra 2, they seem to be really focused on utilizing everything they can, like with Cosmwasm, like trying to leverage as much to do with Cosmwasm, interchain accounts, interchain security, like as possible, you know. So they've got like things like the Alliance module now. You'll have seen that kicking around, right, on Migaloo and Kujira and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Migaloo's super interesting. Alliance is interesting as well. I think like these like security models where you can kind of get like security for loads of different execution environments that kind of like build out an economy is like really, really powerful. So yeah, that interests me a lot. I need to take a deep dive into Migaloo actually to understand Alliance, and obviously look into Feather for when that's kind of like used a lot more as well. It's all very interesting.
I got some bad vibes about Feather last night, and then later on the unrecorded one, Rebel came out, and I think there might be a bit of an internal dispute as to how it gets utilized, what its final version looks like. It's what I gathered from last night is, you know, we shouldn't hold our breath for Feather. Definitely, it seems like Alliance and obviously Station and a couple of other things are the priorities. But when it does come out, it will be amazing. But I got a bit of a shock last night because in the Telegram group, Jared said, yeah, we'll talk about it. And then last night, the minute I mentioned it, Zion just shut it down. And I'm thinking, right, okay, not all is well with Feather. So I don't know if it's a dev thing or whether it's just what it is, but there's something not quite right about it at the minute. But never mind, there's plenty of other stuff to look at, you know. But yeah, I mean, it's
exactly.
Definitely worth having a look. I think Raccoons are going to be over there soon. They're just tightening up the contracts and getting stuff ready. So hopefully we should have a casino over there before long, you know.
Yeah, nice. I mean, how many chains are you on now?
At the minute, we're on, because we're going to be deploying on White Whale soon. We're on Chihuahua and Juno. But I think we shouldn't be that long because I know they were messing around on the Kujira testnet. So I don't think we should be too long for Kujira. And Archway, the minute that Archway launches.
Have you looked over on Injective as well? I know they've got a Talus now on there, I think. So I don't know if that's one of interest.
Yeah, but I think the problem with Injective is the doxing. That's the issue. You've got to be fully doxed on Injective, right?
Okay, yeah, I didn't realise.
Yeah. And it's permissioned as well, isn't it, right? Fully permissioned, yeah?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. So if you want to deploy like a contract, you'll have to go through governance.
Correct, yes, exactly. Whereas where they're deploying at the moment is that they're just like, they could have been deployed on Polygon and a few other places like a long, long time ago, right? But it's just the doxing. It's just purely the doxing, you know?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Dude, Beeb, I feel so sorry for Beeb. She's been in and out so many times tonight, and she keeps getting booted, dude. I wonder if it's something to do with maybe North American servers. Because, I mean, you got in all right, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, when I got in, I couldn't hear anything. I couldn't hear any audio or anything. It was only when you invited me as a speaker, like the audio started coming through. So it was actually a bit of a weird one for me as well. But yeah, obviously I'm not having any problems now. So, but yeah, it's a weird one. Hopefully she can just, I guess she's like restarted her phone and all of that kind of jazz. And still no joy.
Liam, I feel so sorry though. She's been dead excited all week waiting for you, you know?
Yeah, I feel bad for her too.
Oh, bro, she's one of the best interviewers in the game. We interviewed Reach Meta last week, and oh my God, I mean, I felt like just going home. Bruce and I are in the interview, and we're just like looking for new jobs halfway through the interview, you know.
Nice, okay.
I'll tell you what, I mean, I know she's just went to work for, doing some work for Gelato, but it wouldn't surprise me if in the next like 6 months, like an L1 will come in and maybe ask B-Bands to like be the host of their spaces or something. And that would
probably be cool.
It'd probably be a wise move, Liam, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't listened to any of the RAC FM spaces, I'll be honest, so I can't really comment, but I'm sure she's very good. Well,
the real ones that she does is called Bare Bones of Web3, which is on a Monday.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So well run, dude. It's insane. I mean, they've taken off the month of June, so they're not going to be doing another one now. But the professionalism, the organization, the way everything's put together and executed, just outstanding work. We're a pile of shit over here. We didn't really do any like research or planning. You can see even tonight we're having a disaster. Like I thought the room would have been packed today, but B-Band said she's had a few DMs. People can't get in, which is bad. We have, though, guys, been joined by KRIS. I'm wondering if he might have a question. I hope you don't mind, Liam, with it being a small room, yeah?
It's fine. It's all recorded anyway, you said. So, yeah, it's fine. Plus, I'm just here to hang out. And, I wanted to kind of chat with you guys because I felt like I didn't know RAC FM very well. So, obviously, this is a good opportunity to chat with you all.
Well, mate, I know I sounded professional at the beginning, but the Friday show is just literally just shit-talking kind of thing, you know? We chew the industry fat and we talk about some sensible stuff, but there's no like standards on a Friday.
Okay, fair enough. I'll be ready for anything then.
I think, KRIS, did you have to join as a speaker just so you could listen to it, yeah?
Yep. I have a question for Liam too, but if you got other questions, I could wait till the end.
Mate, jump in. We're going to have an open set. The room's that small tonight. We're going to have an open session, you know?
Yeah. What's up, Liam? How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good, KRIS. I'm doing good. Yourself?
All right. Even though you smoked me in the tournament, I still don't hold any grudges against you.
Hey, it was close. I think like in that tournament, it was just because obviously Emperor and yourself played me before the general, so the general kind of had a bit more information on me. So I think that's all it was. It's like the element of surprise.
That's always what it is what's he going to do or how predictable somebody is.
Yeah, and obviously, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, since you took your break and now you're back with helping out OmniFlix, how do you feel now about like doing stuff and like creating content or even just like hosting content now?
Yeah, it's a bit like 50-50, I suppose. I've been talking with Steaksito actually about making content. And I said to them, hey, look, the reason I'm here is like I'm taking a break from making content. So like I still feel like I don't want to go back to like always making content. There's a lot of pressure involved. And like I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So if it means I take longer doing the research and like if something's not right, it bothers me. But yeah, I think I'm going to be making more tutorials and stuff with Steaksito, like kind of like short form content tutorials, quick to record, and just like really valuable. So yeah, working with OmniFlix too has been great. Like it's great to kind of stay in touch with the community, and that's what I like about spaces like this as well. So I guess for me, like I feel like stopping the content was actually the right choice. But it's nice to still be able to kind of like keep in touch with everyone and engage. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question, man.
Yeah, definitely, man. It was just good to hear you back because I know you took a little break, but I was glad to see you joined up with OmniFlix. So good to have you around, man.
Thanks, man. And yeah, OmniFlix are just legends, you know. Like I spoke with Sisler and they're about kind of doing the spaces. I was super nervous on the first one. I don't know why. Like I think it's just because I was making content for someone else, or like hosting a show for OmniFlix. I was a bit nervous about it going wrong. But actually, I've like kind of gotten into my stride with it. So yeah, I really enjoy it. And obviously, OmniFlix are legends, so it's always great. And without kind of doing the OmniFlix space, I never would have found IBC Game and obviously had the awesome duels with you and or card duels, card battles, whatever you call it, with yourself and Emperor in general. So yeah, nothing but praise for OmniFlix, that's for sure.
I've actually got something that I'm curious about, Liam. So, non-coding people, right, Liam? I'm presuming you're a non-coder yourself, or maybe you've started learning. I don't know, right? But what are the sort of biggest hurdles for someone getting a full-time job in Web3 as like a non-coder? Like, what have you kind of like learned or experienced that like toughened you up along the way?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. You know, I think the hurdle is time. It's just a time thing, because unless you happen to just be a really good memer, or you know, you're just someone who can kind of like get a big following but just kind of making meme posts, you don't really need to understand crypto. I think the biggest like hurdle is the learning curve to kind of understand the technology, get familiar with how databases work, and also get familiar with how finance works. Because if you're not already kind of really knowledgeable in those areas, then you're going to have a really tough time understanding Bitcoin, right? Which is kind of like based on Austrian economics. And it's also based on how databases are improved if they are built in a way that links back to the previous data set and so on and so forth. Basically how blockchain is structured. So like the biggest barrier coming into this sector is you have to understand databases and you have to understand finances just to understand Bitcoin. And then you're trying to understand like how smart contracts work and automation works, and how you have like different, like, I can't even like go into the terminology right now because I haven't like prepared for it, but it's all like very complex. And I think that's a massive hurdle to get over, to kind of get a job in the sector, unless you're particularly good at memeing or hosting like spaces and stuff, where maybe you have a better chance if you can just kind of inject some personality. That's my thoughts anyway, but I'd be interested to hear the answer from yourself or from, you know, other people, like what you guys think are the biggest challenges, because maybe from my perspective it's a bit of a bubble, you know, where I've made content now for a few years.
I think one of the challenges, Liam, that we've kind of faced maybe in what we're doing, our little enterprise, is just getting people to take you seriously. It's like there's that many, maybe there's like that many clowns or that many people that are trying to do something. Those that like are really, really trying to do it for a specific like reason, you know. It's because there's that many clowns around. I really do think that's one of the biggest challenges. It's just people taking you seriously, you know.
Yeah, I think I understand. I feel like I'm quite serious though myself in my videos, so it might be a bit easier. But I guess if you're kind of like banting a lot and you've got a lot of like back and forth, maybe it's a bit harder. I'm not sure. Like, in what way do you mean when you say like take you seriously? What do you mean by that?
Kind of, you know, when you start talking about like you know, sponsorships and things like that. Like we really look at RAC FM or wanting to run it like a proper business, you know. But I just get the feeling, you know, maybe like outsiders looking in think like, oh, you know, you lack like business acumen, or even though like, you know, we've got a lot of business skills kind of thing like between us, I teach business, etc., etc. It's like, I don't know, the crypto persona somehow that I've got is like kind of completely different with like real life. And I feel like maybe what I can do in real life, I'm not able or haven't showed like in Web3 yet. So therefore this, I don't know, it sounds a bit weird, but just being took like serious, like I want people to sit up and go, oh yeah, I mean, OmniFlix I've done, by the way, I will say that, and Stargaze to a degree, but I kind of want people to sit up and say, oh, these fucking RAC FM guys, like they're really trying to run like a proper professional business. They've registered as a foundation. You know, they can produce invoices. They want to do proper sponsorships, like that. You know, I mean, it's we want just a real life operating business, Liam, around what we try to do. That's like the artwork, the raps, like everything combined. You know.
Yeah, I think the raps were really cool, man. By the way, like the one for the OmniFlix stream launch for the Stream Swap event, that was awesome. Yeah, I guess like have you kind of spoken with a lot of like team members from different projects and tried to get their like feedback on how they view like RAC FM or not? Because for me, like one of the challenges I've actually found is that, you know, as a content creator, it's always been difficult to do things that are beneficial for projects and founders that are also beneficial for community members, right? And I always tried to kind of like gear my content towards community members, and you know that's why I did the airdrop tutorials and just the tutorials on how to do stuff, and that's why I did like you know, other token like breakdowns for projects. And a lot of the time I was like, hey, I don't really like this, or I don't like that, or I'd avoid projects I wasn't interested in. But I feel like projects have like a different set of goals to like a lot of community members. So it's like really difficult for, I found it really difficult on the sponsorship front, because you mentioned sponsorship, man. Because like I always felt like the sponsorship I was getting or was offered, because I didn't accept very many, was benefiting the projects, but it was never really benefiting my community. So it's like, well, how can I take these sponsorship deals and promote these projects if like I don't think they're going to benefit my community to like go and put like tokens in a liquidity pool, because I just think the risk's way higher than staking, and the reward's not much more, for example. So yeah, I found that very difficult. So maybe that's the struggle you guys might be having, because I guess you're probably quite community focused. And sometimes like projects want X, Y, or Z from you, but that's not always going to benefit your community. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think, you know what, Liam, I'm going to be honest with you. I think the biggest mistake that we made was probably going and speaking to Juno first of all. I actually think if we just avoided Swerve Juno and spoke to, I mean, we have been in quite deep discussions with like people like Stargaze and stuff, and Kujira to an extent as well. I think if we'd have just gone to like the 5 or 6 that we were going to, like Stargaze, Omni, Kujira, Migaloo, etc., if we'd just been to those guys and said, look, you know, can we have like $4,000 in a vested stake and contract for 12 months with a clawback, you know, like on offer, we probably would have done it. But what we did is we went to Juno. Of course, we got a lot of shit from Highlander. He had a drunken rampage one night. It was been about 2:00 in the morning for him, you know. And after that, it was like, oh, well, guys, I think we might have to go out and like prove ourselves a little bit here first, you know. So I've took a step back from that, the idea of getting sponsorship for now. Basically, kind of until I think we've got like maybe the end of this month, maybe into next month, I might go back to thinking about this, but we don't want to. Right, Liam, what do you think about this? We want to be unbiased and based, right? So if you get sponsorship like by one sole entity, like, are you kind of like, you know, do you have to turn a blind eye if they do anything wrong? You know, do you have to like, do you know what I'm talking about? Whereas if you've got sponsorship from like 4, 5, 6 different chains, smaller amounts, yeah, you have that ability to have that little bit of independence while being able to promote them, right?
Yeah, I see where you're going with this. Yeah.
But I balls this up, dude. And you know something, we do want to do it for the community, Liam. Like we want to be able to have like, you know, giveaways and things like what we've been doing. But we also want to pay people, Liam. We know we're doing the YouTube migration at the minute, putting all the episodes on there. It's taken forever. People are buying equipment. I've paid like the artist out of my own pocket. Like just to, you know, a little stipend to keep them motivated. Like we're putting like money into what we're doing. And you know, we're producing, etc., etc. I just think that I want to pay the bloody team. You know, not that much. I mean, if we can pay the team like $500 a month, you know, they're putting like unlimited time and work in there, Liam. You know, I'm not bothered about myself. I just really want the team paid at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, I saw your draft proposal. Was that on the Juno chain? I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, Commonwealth. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I did obviously see that where I'm doing my Snake Ceto stuff. And it didn't seem like a bad like concept where like you kind of like stake what you receive and you just kind of use the staking rewards for stuff.
Exactly.
That seems quite interesting.
And a clawback, Liam, at the end, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like it's not really you're not spending the pool tokens as such. So it was an interesting idea.
We're not going to dump them like Highlander for his hotel rooms, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think that's been a big discussion actually lately, hasn't it? Not necessarily like Highlander specifically, but a lot of the community pool funding, obviously people need to sell the tokens to pay for expenses or to build, like, pay their developers, whatever. So I know like there's been a lot of chat recently about that being a big problem to keep funding projects, especially for tokens like Juno, Stargaze, where like their price has been going down a lot in the bear market. So I imagine it's a tough time to secure funding because you kind of get a lot of criticism because of the negative price action recently. It makes it more difficult, I think. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, the Stargaze one's an interesting, kind of unique one. And I think it's intertwined with the Juno situation as well. I would like to find out, Liam, what you think lies ahead for Juno, because we have all got a vested interest. It's been, a lot of us, it's been our mother chain for a long time. I would like to know from you where you think the cliff is, right, eventually. But I mean, you might not want to talk about it, but I presume that you saw the Stargaze stuff. We're talking about the price getting hit like really bad. I mean, the very fact that Jake has dumped more stars USD value than the platform has generated in NFT sales. No wonder it went down to 1 cent, Liam, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure actually, because wasn't there? I can't remember if it was Stargaze or it was another one, because I know there's been a couple of these situations recently. There was like an Evmos one as well. I think I'm thinking of the Evmos one actually, where like the developers sold a lot of their tokens, but compared to like how many Evmos were sold in the same period, it definitely didn't cause like the dump itself. So I wonder if it's the same with Jake, where like although he's selling a lot and the situation's kind of bad from what I've seen, maybe there's like other reasons why stars has been going down because it's highly inflationary, right? And there's a lot of other sellers. I don't have the stats for it, so I don't know. And I also haven't followed this situation in detail, by the way, mate. So I don't know if, Jake's like a terrible person, if it's been like resolved to some extent, but it does kind of suck, doesn't it? Like these people who get like big token allocations kind of like dump on the community. And like, although they're dumping on the community, they're just selling the tokens of a project maybe they aren't bothered about anymore. So it's like a bit of a like, hey, you're allowed to do that, but it sucks because you're affecting like everyone else by doing that.
It was like the way it was done as well, Liam. I think it was the farming method. And Liam, stop me if I'm wrong here, but I think one of the biggest problems that we're facing right now, and it's unique to Cosmos, is this situation, right, where you've got staked vesting contracts. So basically, the vesting, and they've got like this linear scale or whatever, but they're getting staking rewards because it's locked in a staking vesting contract, right? So what happened was Jake got like 30 million stars all vested, but immediately they were staked. And of course, the APR was through the roof on the first few days, right? So that shit printed for fun. Then what did he do is he took those rewards, he then farmed them on osmosis through the liquidity pools, and then dumped all of the rewards that came out of that. So that the stars and the dual reward system, that was specifically what was being dumped, right? So you didn't really see like any like major dumping unless you looked under the hood, right? I think that's what maybe a few people have got an issue with. It looks like it was well planned and well executed,
Yeah, that's the thing. Like maybe these people shouldn't have so many tokens to begin with. Like maybe we should be looking at the token distribution better. I don't know, but like I was actually weirdly I was thinking about this like even the last week. Like I just think teams still get too many tokens, like especially founders. Like I get paying devs like out of say token inflation, to pay devs as they're continuing to build the project. But like if a founder leaves like 6 months after the project and they've received like a 15% allocation of the tokens or something, then it's a big problem, isn't it? So maybe these devs should just get less. Like it doesn't matter if you found the project. Maybe you should just get paid like any other team member, but you might get a little bit more. I don't know.
Did you have to review the? This is a good one for you. Did you have to review the token swap with Juno and Dow for your Stakecito role? Yeah, did you review that? What did you think?
Yeah, I took a look into it. I guess my biggest question was like how they came up with the
valuation.
How they came up with the valuation. Yeah, it's like, so why is this many Dow tokens worth this many Juno tokens? That was the biggest question I had.
And then they've immediately took that Juno and put it in the linear staked vesting contracts through DAO, right? They immediately they've immediately paid out however many Juno it was. It's immediately being paid out, I think, to Ekes, Casey, and Noah and Jake, I believe. I don't know if Jake took any. I'll have to go and have a look, but I do know that Juno is now being paid out. Which is it's a funny one. I mean, Joe's been going at this hard. I think Tank had some conflicting opinions as well. It's totally and utterly illiquid, DAO. There's no way of pricing it whatsoever. It's basically a DApp token, right? A DApp governance token. I mean, what it was sold as, okay, the Juno community can get a share in DAO governance. But, like, is that really the selling point, Liam, or what?
Well, I thought it was like the concept I thought was you invest into DAO as a Juno like community by spending some Juno in the community pool. And by spending money acquiring DAO tokens, you're taking a share in the protocol. And then the Juno that they receive, they can use towards getting liquidity, to launching the DAO token, and also to maybe funding DAO development further, right? That was the kind of concept I thought of. So that's what I would have expected to happen. But if that's not happening, that's a bit of a shame, because it's not going to go anywhere without that extra push. So,
well, there's a couple of signs at the minute as well, right? The locking down of the front end UI contracts, right, until it can sort out the licensing. So I was talking to Rama a while ago about DAO, right? There must be, and I've tried to talk to Jake about it, but he didn't want to. There must be plans to monetize it in the future, right? They're not going to do all this work and build all this up, right, without monetizing, Liam, right?
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, whether that be like license. I mean, I think DAO is a DAO as a service, a DAS. I think that's, you're going to be able to create the front end. I think KRIS down there was talking about this the other week. You're going to be able to create your own lovely front end, and DAO is going to power the back end. I don't think they should be worrying about like UIs and all of that sort of stuff, right? They need to be thinking about like other things. But if they're going to monetize it, and if there's a really strong plan to be able to do that, like a proper roadmap and business plan, fantastic. But like, is it just we're going to monetize it one day, or is that actually a real fucking plan in place? Because I haven't seen any plans yet. I haven't seen any blueprints for, to get it to full monetization, right?
Yeah, I haven't followed closely enough either, so I don't actually know like what plans are in there and what's not. But I agree with you. Like, that's kind of always how DAO has been. I don't know if it's been sold that way, or at least this is the way I've interpreted it. It's kind of what you said there. It's like DAOs as a service. Like, I think it could be really useful. Like, there's probably lots of situations where you can use a DAO in just like a Web2 context, right? In the sense that like you're a group of friends, you're like running like I don't know, maybe you're running like a football tournament or something, and you want all the funds to go into like a contract and get distributed at the end of the tournament based on the winner. Like, long term, I feel like that's the kind of DAO tooling that would be useful. It's just kind of like, hey, you've got a group of 50 or 100 people that need like a DAO structure for running an event or managing some funds or something. And yeah, that's kind of how I've always envisioned DAO. But as for getting to that point, I can't comment on like what's been developed there, because I haven't followed it closely enough. But I hope they can, man, because I think there's a lot of potential in the concept.
Liam, do you know something? I actually put through 2 props today, right, on DAO. And I've been doing some work on enterprise, right? Dude, I'm not joking. It tries to like blow your computer up. I did two props. One of them was the DAO token distribution for our guys. We got our allocation for being contributors, right? And basically, actually, guys, very quickly, I'm just going to come in here because I can see Tank's just declined. Chris sent me a DM to make him co-host. Guys, I've done everything I can with the space today. I've literally jumped in and out about 10 times. I've sent speaker invites. Chris is probably trying to help me out as well. Chris, it's like Twitter's really bad today, right? We just want to let everybody know we're trying, but it's bad, right?
Yeah, it's terrible. I think Elon figured it out when he had that space with DeSantis and it blew up. So, like, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, pretty bad. Like, DAO was front end. Right, Liam, I'm going to get back to this point. Today, I did the two props. One of them was the treasury spend, allocate our DAO tokens individually. The other one was to send an NFT and then mint another couple into the treasury. Bro, man, I just was losing the will to live. It is not a pleasurable user experience. You go to enterprise and it's like the front end's a dream. I'm so frustrated that we've got like 50% on one side and 50% on the other. And I'm like, because I'm presuming, Liam, that you've obviously followed like Ryan the Lion and the Lion DAO and the success that they've had over there. You've been watching that closely, have you?
Not super close, actually. A lot of my focus has been around the Atom Economic Zone. And I guess I follow NFTs a bit, but yeah, you probably know way more than me, man, on the Lion Ryan or Ryan Lion or whatever his name is. But I have been following loosely, so I should be able to understand what you're talking about.
Don't get me wrong, they've had a lot of help. You know, they've had devs like doing the contracts, the custom contracts in their spare time. I know who's been working over there, but I mean, you know, Ryan used to be a Prism team member. Of course, he's going to have inside contacts and people who are going to help him out. Plus, they really wanted something or someone to be at the showcase, just what enterprise can do, what it's capable of, etc., etc. But yeah, man, I have to tell you that. And Chris has just jumped in the room. Oh, he's gone, guys. The minute anybody accepts a speaker role, they're getting kicked out. This is fucking really bad. Just to have Liam not kicked out is unbelievable tonight. I can't believe we're clinging onto this interview with every little breath we've got, right? Anyway, dude, yeah, so what Ryan's done with the DAO far outweighs, in my opinion, anything that's been done collectively by every single DAO combined on DAO since its inception. And that's saying something. But I believe that they've done more, achieved more, showcased DAOs more. We've got a DAO, we're trying. You know, we did the pre-registration for Finn's single. We'll send 3 books and we'll mint this to you, blah, blah, blah. To be honest with you, everything that we're trying is just paling into insignificance compared to what these guys are doing over there. And they're about to drop, I think, a 5K NFT collection. I think that's coming quite soon. Is it, Chris? Do you know about the NFT collection they've got?
No, I didn't, but I'm trying to learn about it. With the kid, I've been a little preoccupied, It's hard to keep up.
Oh, of course, dude. Of course. Get some Luna ready, though. Definitely you want to grab one of those mints. Liam, I highly recommend grabbing one of Ryan's mints, mind, in the early stages, mind. They'll be good investments.
Oh, I'll keep an eye out, but no promises. But I'm curious, so I would like to kind of look into it at least.
Liam, what's your interest in NFTs, on a scale of 1 to 10, compared to say your more traditional crypto, maybe interest in L1s? Are you a big NFT fan or not? I don't get that vibe from you.
Actually, it's a weird one. So I think NFTs are much more interesting than DeFi. DeFi is probably gonna, although DeFi can impact everyone globally because everyone needs finance and money and stuff. The amount of actual users in most DeFi products is probably 5% of the world's population. But I think NFTs are so broad that they could quite easily be used in maybe like 20-30% of the population's like daily lives, whether it's collecting like JPEGs or if it's playing games, or whether it's just like real world assets on chain. Like, I just think NFTs are the future, man. I'm a big advocate of NFTs. I think from an investing perspective, I don't want to say L1s, but I think how would I word it? Like maybe kind of like economic zones that have like a clear value capture to a single token. That's kind of like where my investment thesis is. So like, for example, like Atoms kind of fits that. Celestia is like a roll-up solution would fit that. So those are all very interesting. The way Avalanche has kind of multiple subnets, that's interesting. Basically, I'm kind of looking for zones of economic activity, whether that's kind of one chain, multiple chains with a single token, as like where the most value will accrue. Because I think there could be tons of app chains with amazing products, but you don't invest in every business that you use, right? Just because I buy a sofa from, say, IKEA, doesn't mean IKEA is a good investment. So the same way that I might use an exchange, it doesn't mean that exchange and its native tokens are a good investment. But I think in terms of products, NFTs are the most exciting products for me.
Liam, I just couldn't figure out, and I'm still trying to figure out, why NFTs were such a safe harbor, like during that like dark crypto winter. Like I'm really annoyed that I didn't like heavily get into the NFT game until like flipping them until the jaws. So it was like I literally turned like I don't know, whatever it was, 2,000, was it 2,000 stars or something? I turned like 2,000 stars into like 20k stars in like about 15, 20 minutes. And I was like, whoa. And then obviously there was things like the squids, a few others, obviously like Soizin, like with his meme duck there. Pixel Wizards was like, dude, I mean, if I'd been in NFTs when the real, like, July into like August, etc., and the remainder of that year when it was like the crypto market just went to shit, I'd have probably come out of there like well up, Liam. If I'd played it earlier, but I didn't.
It's always how it is. You could have done this, could have done that. But now man. So maybe you'll get it next time.
Yeah, man. And I do want to just say thanks to Soy for coming in as a co-host. I apologise to KRIS. We're trying to get you up, guys, but Twitter's just not having it today. At least we've got Liam, though. But Soy, welcome, brother.
Hi, mate. How's it going? Hey, Liam.
Hey, man. How you doing, Soy?
I'm good. Have you guys been going for like an hour or something already?
Yeah, pretty much. I think maybe 50 minutes, right?
Yeah, I was just looking at the clock then. I thought I'd come in at the beginning of the show, but obviously not. An hour late. So what's going on with the co-hosting anyway? You can't get people up or something?
Dude, like B-Bands and Tank and that, they've tried to come in. I mean, it's horrendous. This is the worst. Like, it's a great Twitter space, don't get me wrong. The convo is brilliant. But from a technical perspective, this is my personal worst ever experience with Twitter Spaces. Like, we're hanging on. Like, I must have sent like Tank and KRIS like about 10 co-hosts each. Every time Tank accepts as a speaker, it shows and then it kicks him out of the room. B-Bands has just given up. I mean, I'm actually gutted for B-Bands because she was so pumped to speak to Liam. I was like, B-Bands, I've got you the interview of the year. Are you ready? It's just like, what? I'm like, it's a surprise. And I was waiting. And then I'm like, look who's coming on. And I'm just absolutely gutted for your woman. Guys, but the show must go on. So the show must go on, right?
Yes, indeed. I've just been trying to play around with the stuff there. It's not letting me do anything either, so can't help, unfortunately.
Didn't you owe Liam a thank you? Because I believe he did put a nice little video out teaching the plebs how to get their airdrop, right?
Oh, did he? I haven't actually seen it, but if you did, then that's much appreciated, Liam. Cheers. Hopefully saved me a few airdrop questions there. Honestly, it's just a nightmare. Like, and the thing is, I don't think we really have like a great platform for this yet. For like this sort of like everyone's got the same question, because let's just accept it. People are never going to go see like the FAQ or whatever. Everyone just sort of piles in with questions and stuff, right? And I can't really think of a good way to deal with it. It's just, like Discord and Telegram, you got to scroll all the way up to find your answers and stuff, and no one's going to do that. So it's difficult. So stuff like that with the videos, very helpful. Cheers.
Do you not use the search function on Telegram and Discord?
Well, I do sometimes, but like I say, the masses just don't, do they? It's like people just don't do that. I think that's my impression anyway.
No, you're right. You're definitely right. Most people don't. I just find it's like quite easy for me. Like sometimes like people like ask a question and I'm like, dude, why aren't you looking yourself? So I'll go and like to the Discord or the Telegram. I'll use the search function on the chat and I'll search for the answer and then I'll just reply to them. So like everything like I think, we do to like educate people, like they could do themselves, but they just don't. Because, people don't want the hassle.
Yeah, completely. Like this is basically my stance. Like even if I get like a really basic question that I could probably answer quicker than telling him how to get it himself, I'll like literally militarily refuse to give him the answer and keep giving him the source. Fun times in the Neutron Discord, everybody.
Yeah, I think I just like give people the answer because no, I understand it, right? Like I get very frustrated with the UX in crypto. Like even just like RPC errors, like like not automatically switching the gas fee to a different token, or all these different problems with like new products that launch and airdrops and stuff. I just think it's like really frustrating. I get it, and I think people like actually have the right to not want the hassle of having to look for all these things. But like we can only say I'll say this, like we can only keep saying for so long that the UX will improve in crypto. But it's been like 4 or 5 years that we've been saying that for, and very few UXs have actually improved to a standard that's good enough, in my opinion. And I don't know whether it's like the technology, like it's actually very hard to do a good UX, or if like people just don't want to put the money into it.
Yeah, it's all good questions, but I think you're exactly right. The UX definitely needs to improve. And certainly like kind of going through a big launch like this, it does sort of make you think about the challenges that crypto as a whole faces in like onboarding the masses. Definitely things that need to be improved for sure.
So can I ask you an open and honest question, if this is all right? It's quite an easy one. You don't have to answer. But like what you're talking about there, and I did get a sense of frustration in your voice last night, or maybe a little bit of like tiredness, is that why like your boss man put that spaces, like unrecorded spaces last night, just to be able to like have like open like dialogue and discourse out there, or what? As I felt yous last night. Yous were like, look, we've tried our best, guys. You know what I mean? We've like really like tried to deliver for yous, like, we're kind of prepared for like everything. I got a nice vibe off yous last night, mate.
Well, mate, I think you got a nice vibe off anything last night. You sound like you had about 10 beers. It was just like an impromptu space. Like, to be honest, it was something Spade did. I had like no idea about it. And then I was about to go to sleep. I think it was about 2 a.m. or something, right? And I noticed he was on there. So I just popped in and said hello. I think he's just trying to give people an opportunity to come in and ask any questions. But I'm not so sure that format is great. I think the key is just we need to just focus on having better literature, better documentation, and like specifically from the Neutron case, like we should have like published the information way earlier. But there were reasons why that couldn't be done with all the legal stuff, and it's just like I say, a few things came together that made it less than ideal. And so yeah, mate, I'm sure there's some tiredness. It's like teams been working really hard, and like I say, last night it was like 2 a.m. So for sure, a little bit of tiredness and stuff. But I think it was like the sort of the impact of everything not having gone as well as you wanted it to, like immediately, is like a little bit deflating. But I think we were just sort of, I don't know, maybe we feel like it went a bit worse than it did, but everything's fine. Everything's going fine. All the bugs are sort of ironed out now and stuff, and things are getting easier. So it's yeah, like I said, it's gone okay, but things could have been better.
Right, listen to this, guys. I'm gonna try an experiment. Right, it has worked previously. So I've got a different Android device, right? Different version. And I've just looked at that one wasn't switched on for updates. I've just updated it because B-Bands has just tried to come in again. I'm feeling so sorry for your woman and Tank as well. Like, why Liam's here, man? These people have been dying to be able to like have a little chat with your man, you know. I'm gonna try something that worked out the other week. I've got 2 co-hosts and I've got like 60 seconds. I should be good. I'm gonna jump off this device and I'm gonna jump onto the tablet and see if this can fix any issues, right? So just give me a minute, guys, right? I'll be back. Talk amongst yourselves while I'm away, by the way.
Yeah. So anyway, like I said, I came in late and missed like the first half of the show or whatever. What was the TLDR? What have you been up to, Liam?
To be honest, we've just been chatting about just like random different stuff. We talked a bit about RAC FM and like kind of getting everything professional, wanting to pay the staff. We talked about Juno, talked about Stargaze, talked about Jake. Just been vibing, man. Just chatting about a few different things. Nothing in particular.
What are you doing? What are you doing these days? Like, sorry to interrupt there. Because obviously you said you just made like a YouTube video for Neutron, like I said, which is great. But I thought you were sort of out of the YouTube game now.
Yeah, so I made this video with Stakecito actually, because obviously as a validator, Stakecito wants to kind of educate more, be a bit more active in governance, and contribute to like the chains they're validating on a bit more. So that video is actually done for the Stakecito Twitter. They're also going to have a YouTube channel where we'll post like some videos, but honestly, man, I'm pretty much still away from content. It's just quick tutorials like that, which can obviously make a big impact and they're not too difficult to produce. I'm going to be claiming an airdrop anyway, so what difference does it make to spend maybe half an hour recording that process and helping people? But yeah, otherwise, man, I've been working at Stakecito, obviously doing the OmniFlix Twitter Spaces, and not really doing much content at the moment.
Yeah, fair enough. Are you based in the UK?
Yeah, do you know Bournemouth?
I don't know it. I've never been, but I know Bournemouth. I know Bournemouth from generally beating you at football. I'm a bit of a Liverpool fan.
Home of one of the best clubs, one of the best nightclubs in England, Bournemouth back in the day. So Bournemouth used to be the home of Slinky, right, Liam? Probably before your time, though, I think.
I think I've heard of Slinky, though. So, are you sure you're not thinking of Brighton or Bristol?
No. Because Bournemouth's where all the old people go to die, right?
Yeah, you could say that.
Dude, you want to know something? That's South Coast, man. I lived down there. So I lived in, I used to work in Gosport. So I used to go over on the little ferry every day. I don't know if can you guys hear me all right? I know my sound's probably changed. Is it all right?
All clear here.
Yeah, fine.
Super. Yeah, man, I used to live in Pompey, not far from Guns Wharf, and take the boat over it. But that part of the world, man, from like Brighton, like along to like before you get to Pompey, I mean, it's stunning. The South Coast is like stunning, right?
Oh, it's amazing. Purbecks are really, really nice. Studland's great. Yeah, I love it. I've done a 30-mile walk along the coastline, so it's really nice.
We were talking about your accent last night, actually, on the Spaces. We did like a big unrecorded one. We were just talking about you coming on, and I tried to guess. I said, your accent is a bloody difficult one to get. Bournemouth, that makes sense now, like.
Yeah, it's kind of that Dorset accent mixed with the kind of Cockney accent you get kind of in the London area, because we're not too far from London, actually.
Yeah, the weird thing is about that central southern coast is that like southeast and southwest are completely different. You can immediately tell, right? Like, I guess there's some guy, like I thought the guy was from like Margate the other week, and he was from what's it called again? The next town, Margate. Like I literally like nailed him, kind of like he's like, oh, but my mother was from Margate, you know. But yeah, dude, that like Brighton to Bournemouth, even by the time you get to like Pompey, Southampton, they've got that little like twinge, that little like Western twinge in them. Look who's joined us. Look who's joined us, dude. So we have been able to get someone up. Maybe we've got some glitches fixed. Coinlanding.page is probably going to come up and say, when Liam Connor, confident in crypto, go on Coinlanding.page, are you going to come and ask him when he's going to have a page?
No. I was just gonna come and say hi. And I heard a little topic on UX, so I was like itching to speak up, but I couldn't join. Sorry, I'm outside, so there might be a little bit of wind. But hi,
are you back home now? Are you back in Belgium now? Are you?
Yes, I am, and I've never felt so
what
great.
What was Morocco like? Is it good?
Morocco? No, Algeria.
Algeria, sorry, dude. Of course it was Algeria. What was it like? Enjoyed it, yeah?
It was the best thing ever. But like it puts things in perspective. There were many things there. So there was really nice places. For example, the place where my dad was from. That was basically like paradise, to be honest. It's mountains everywhere, green, like big ass trees, like older than a couple centuries, or like at least 1 century old, and then waterfalls and fresh air and sun. Yeah, it's the best shit ever. But then if you keep driving a little bit farther, so this is like a really rural village, like a village in the middle of nowhere, basically. But if you keep driving a little bit, you go to the more populated areas, and on the side of the highway, there's just trash everywhere, and the cars are so old that the air is extremely polluted. So those things were less nice to see. But yeah, there were definitely some really nice places to see, and I've learned a lot about my roots. So I think I can place a lot of things in life a little bit better now. So that's really nice.
Do you feel a little bit more whole? Do you? You feel a little bit more whole with your life?
Yeah, definitely. I've never felt so whole before.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's really crazy. It's like everything's different. It sounds really cliche, but like I came back home and like nothing feels the same. Like feels more like, I don't know. Yeah, like I said, my perspective just completely changed.
It's called liberating your soul, bro. I've been there. I've had to do it. Like, I know exactly what it's like. It's called liberating your soul. Yeah, Liam, a couple of weeks ago, we had a bit of an emotional spaces, you could say. Coinlanding.page came on. He'd had some bad news regarding his father. He's a big fan of the show. He's been on for a long time. We love him dearly. And yeah, his father was originally from Algeria, so he took off and he's had a couple of weeks over there, kind of finding his roots. And so it's great to hear you, Coinlanding.page. You sound fantastic. Yeah, I'm really happy to hear that.
Just quickly wanna correct that. So there was no really bad news in terms of my father. Just
sorry.
Maybe you might have mixed up with someone else. But so
sorry, I might
last year was the bad news.
Oh, sorry, dude. Sorry, I got confused.
Was recovering from cancer and getting treated for it. Wow, there's a lot of wind here. Look for another place to walk.
Sorry, but that was right. You wanted to go back to like your father's homeland, didn't you? That was right. Sorry, dude, yeah.
I basically got the news that I was finally fully healed, and that's when my brother and my father told me, like, okay, well, now we're gonna go on a little trip. We're gonna discover where Dad's from. So, and it was a really good idea. Really appreciated it. And all the time was like following along the plans that were announced by Neutron to launch. I was like, come on, guys, you're gonna launch just when I'm out. But I came back right on time, I guess, to see the shit show happening of everybody like flooding the Telegram. It's insane. It's so funny to see.
Who saw you?
Who saw you? I bet he's had some like
poor
sleepless
Soy,
nights.
Yeah, he actually asked me to update the page for Neutron on Coinlanding.page, but since I had no computer, I had no ability to change anything. So the day I was able to do it was during the launch. So I contacted him. I was saying like, hey, would you mind retweeting maybe? I was like, it's too busy, which is totally understandable. So
I can't even remember the last time an L1 had a smooth like launch. Actually, there's always some issue with something or some particular like entities can't claim the airdrop for whatever reason. There's always something. Guys, he's been trying all night, and I'm sure he's got something for Liam here. Especially when they were talking about the gaming and stuff earlier. But KRIS has been like literally wanting to come up. I just want to welcome him quickly to the convo. Hello, KRIS with a K.
Hey, good morning.
Oh, bro, Twitter, man. And I'm sure like Twitter's trying to like purposely do this like on purpose just because we've got Liam on, right?
Yep. Elon doesn't want any of Liam, so he's just fucking it all up.
He is. He's trying to ruin the universe. He's like there's no way that wholesome Liam can go on that bloody damned RAC FM, right?
Yeah, thanks for getting me up. Yeah, I was trying to, just kept booting me. But you know how Spaces is. Yeah, I just want to say good morning to Liam. So I was following him in his early YouTube days when I first came to the Cosmos space. He was definitely someone that I would watch and get info from. So definitely appreciate him and his service. I love what he's doing over OmniFlix, and I like that he's one of the leaders on Twitter for gaming and Cosmos. So just wanted to say thanks, and always a pleasure to listen to him. And I'm glad that he came over and got to interact with you this morning, Robo.
Well, I'm going to say something about Liam. Liam, I'm going to say something about you here. Why we wanted you on is because, like, we all think that you're not a moon boy. And that's for these bloody, I mean, even if you look at Don to an extent's a bloody moon boy, isn't he? I mean, Liam, actually, what do you think about Don Kryptonium, if you didn't mind me asking you?
I have a lot of thoughts about Don, actually. Don's great at NFTs. I want to say that first. Like, he is, if you want to get in NFTs, like, Don seems to know his stuff. He knows his stuff, like, really well. Like, I remember he was talking about Milady's, and it was like $500 an NFT at the time. And I nearly bought one, but I didn't because I didn't have enough money. And now they're like 5K. And I was like, damn, like, that's when I was like, damn, Don knows his NFTs. So, yeah, a lot of praise for him on the NFT front. I think he's just a bit of he loves the attention. Like, he loves the attention. He loves to be like the center of it all. He loves to like joke and bant, and he does a lot of great stuff. But I also think a lot of the stuff he does is like he thinks he's 100% right and he's not, or he's just trolling. So I've got a ton of thoughts about Don, man. But I think for NFTs specifically, he's very good. I think he's the best in Cosmos for picking NFT plays. What do you guys think?
I got a surprise today, Liam, because I mean, do you know about the Django Unchained comment today when he said about, I'll take the little Chinese? Did you see that? And then did you see that outcry afterwards, or have you not seen that yet?
I haven't actually seen that. What happened?
If you click on Don Kryptonium's profile now, he did share a tweet earlier. I mean, he was getting a lot of shit in the comments about under Django's tweet after the interview with Sadat. Right. I mean, all right, you can construe that as, if you want to, as being racist. If you know Don, I think you should probably know better. But what I got a shock about today is that someone said, I don't know why X, Y, and Z is like paying you, and Zaki was one of the names mentioned. Now, that's a first for me. I knew Don was on Stride's payroll. I know he's been on Shane's personal payroll for a very long time, out of Shane's personal stars. That's public knowledge. But Zaki Manian, I mean, he's not promoting Somalia or anything, but so Zaki pays Don. That's a new one on me, mind. KRIS has got his hand up here, but do you know Liam or not?
No, I don't. I know Shane. Shane paid him, obviously. But I don't know anything more than that. So, yeah, I'm at the loop on that one.
The guy, me too, and I'm normally up to the loop on all the gossip. I mean, it's my job at RAC FM to be up on gossip, right? That's the whole purpose of the fucking show. Chris, do you know anything about this? You got your hand up there?
I don't know about Zach paying him, but I did want to ask both you and Liam your opinion on what you think about Don being so vocal against Jake and the Stargaze accusations, the dumping, the code stealing. Because even if he's right, and Robo, even you are able to voice some of your displeasures or your problems with Jake in that situation. But don't you feel like because you're not on someone's payroll, it looks less likely of you being biased? Whereas Don, you have to question, like, if he's on payrolls for Stargaze and Shane, and he's making these accusations, how can you take anything he says without viewing it as his viewpoint being biased? And Liam should know that because Liam was a YouTuber. What Liam says on YouTube in his videos back in the day, if he was on someone's payroll, you would take that with a grain of salt. So I don't see how anyone can take certain things Don says. It's not to say his opinions aren't validated, but you always have that asterisk on it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, okay, I'll do this. Right. So you know Don Dow. Do you know about Don Dow? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and you know about Jake. Do you know about the 500? I mean, Don's treasury basically like 500 and coppers in, and the 500 came from Jake, right?
Right.
It's allegedly there are rumors that this was looked upon like a little bit of a slight. I don't know how much truth there is to that, but that was like one of the kind of like moments where like Don was like, right, fuck it. Because, and obviously the fact he's like Stargazer's paid like mouthpiece lackey. I mean, you know, if you look at the whole thing, there's an element of coordination and time and
right.
Jake had already paid the 25. Yeah. Jake had already paid the 25 million back before any of this information came out. So yeah, you have to kind of ask yourself, I mean, what's the motivation for Don? Financial, of course, right? And maybe clout, maybe a few extra followers. But is it personal? I think so. See, Jake, a lot of people don't know that Jake ghosted Don for a very, very long time before he went on his show. And Don wasn't happy with that. I think Don's always had an issue with Jake, if I'm honest with you, for a long, long, long time. He actually, if you go and search his tweets, you'll find out there, Chris, where when he was like, he kicked off that much. Didn't he kick off that much online about Jake ghosting him for an interview that Jake was like, oh, I'll fucking come on and do it. Can you remember that last year? I think it was.
Yeah, and I know what you're talking about, and that's kind of what I was getting at, and that's not to discount anything that all of us can look at Jake and have an opinion about that, but it's just like, come on, guys, you got to look at it through. There could be personal issues there. There's definitely a bias when you're on Shane's payroll because you're going to skew all the things you say in favor of Stargaze. And my whole thing on this was always, yes, it looks bad for Jake to dump. Jake probably shouldn't have dumped. But if you have Stargaze setting him up where he's capable of doing so, who's really at fault? And when I basically asked Don about that, you know, he kind of sidestepped and dodged it. But what he really dodged was when I asked him for proof that the polytone code was supposedly intended for Stargaze. Like, where's the proof that that was stolen? Because if not, that's a smear campaign.
You've got that wrong, Chris, and I'll explain very quickly why. Okay, gotcha. So polytone was the idea of Stargaze, but they said to Ekes, like, will you build this for us? This is like what we want to do, but there was no code. It was just an idea, and then obviously Ekes has gone away and done it. Like, he didn't get paid, but there was a discussion. I mean, it was kind of like a gentleman's agreement. So, like, how legally standing, you know, or morally standing is a gentleman's agreement. I mean, to me, if you spit on your hand and we shake hands, like, that's a done deal. That's a blood fucking, you know, blood promise, right? But like, these devs don't like think like we do. They're very fucking fickle, and they'll always just go where the money is or whatever else. But so it was Stargazer's idea on a piece of fucking paper. This is what we want. And then he's gone away and done it, and it's going to be deployed obviously on Juno via Dow, etc. But that's a really weird one. I think, let's not pretend the real issue is, and I think Liam might want to come in as well, is the issue is that some of the Stargaze fucking code ended up in the Juno repos. That's what the big problem is. I mean, that was the one that was bugging Reese. I think the secondary thing is that all this talk about Juno not having VCs is bullshit, because if Jake is the one that's bankrolling Reese's salary, then Jake is the VC of Juno, the only fucking one, right? Really, if he's top wallet holder and he's paying people's salaries, blah, 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 he is the VC, isn't he? So there's quite a few things we need to reassess. I don't know whether it's a moral standing, whether it's or what it is, but I mean, you lot tell me, because after I listened to Jake's space, I was still none the wiser. I'm like, do I trust this guy? Do I not trust him? I still didn't know any better after listening to Jake for 3 hours. I'm going to go to Soy here before Liam quickly, because Soy, did you listen to Jake's Food Space after Tank Space was it last week, I think? Did you hear that, Soy? Oh, he might be getting rugged. I mean, Liam, did you catch any of Jake's space or not? Did you catch that, Liam?
I generally stay out of the drama, just for my own sanity, really. But no, what happened?
I've noticed you do that, and you do it quite well, don't you? You're actually really good at that. You're probably one of the best in the business at staying away from controversial commentary and just letting everybody else fucking bitch about it. That's what you do, isn't it, dude? You just let them all bitch about it themselves.
But Robo,
exactly.
That's
and
one of the reasons
they'll sort it out.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm finished. Please go ahead.
No, I was going to say, that's one of the reasons too, though, Liam, why when we used to watch you on YouTube, I used to enjoy it. I kind of put you up there, even though it was a much smaller scale in Cosmos, I kind of put you up there with Coin Bureau, because when you watch the videos, you felt like they were less biased. They weren't talking about a lot of drama. They were straight to the point. And I think that's what YouTubers kind of need to do is be unbiased and present the information and not necessarily get into the drama or I know that's kind of less followers and kind of keeps you out of it. But, that was my critique of Don, was hey, man, you're very good at what you do. But when it comes to reporting on certain things on your YouTube, if I'm comparing him to, say, a Liam or a Coin Bureau or other examples, it's hard to take what he says seriously, because you're being paid by someone and you're kind of trolling or misinformed.
Yeah, I think I kind of see it. Sorry, I was just going to say, I feel like it's more we're just two different sides of the same coin. I like keep things very unbiased, very neutral, very calm and collective, and try and be almost boring in the sense that it's just very explanatory for people who are focused specifically on learning. But I think what people Dom's really good at, and kind of how I envisioned RAC FM as well before jumping up today, is you guys kind of get stuck in more with the controversy, the big issues that someone needs to address and someone needs to discuss, right? Because if we never discuss these things, and people get away with bad things without any kind of accountability and stuff, right? So I kind of see myself as, when I make content, I guess, I always saw myself more as this neutral, explanatory kind of channel for explaining concepts to people so they can learn. And then what Don did, what RAC FM does, and other people do is they kind of dive into these real, tough to swallow or tough to chew issues or whatever. And that's something which I can't do as easily. But I think it's still very commendable.
I like what B-Band said about you. And by the way, I wasn't going to interrupt. I was just going to say, Chris, was that a fucking grandfather clock you had going off in the background there? What was that? Sound like a grandfather clock or something?
No, sorry. It was just a text.
Oh, is that? No, wait. It's a text. It's a grandfather clock. Oh, my goodness. I like what B-Band said the other day about Liam, though. She said, you know something? My first 3 airdrops I ever claimed on Cosmos, I claim because I like Liam's videos. Oh, she's here, just talking about it, and she comes in the room. Let's see if we can get your woman up. Oh, please, God, can we get your woman B-Bands in the room? Can we, for the love of Mary? For the love. Are you there, darling? Please. Tell she got booted again. What the fuck is going on? I'm so frustrated tonight, man. My God. Yeah, she basically said though that, you know, like the first 3 airdrops or whatever she claimed on Cosmos, like she did literally like through your videos. Like Liam, I think there's probably 99.9% of us. Our first airdrop that we ever went and claimed was probably on the back of one of your videos, mine. And then, like, when you learn like about it, and you want to go and do it yourself, like Liam, after a certain period of time. But talk about a way to onboard, like newbies and like people coming into the eco. Perfect, like really good, dude. Yeah, I like. Shit, am I getting rogued? What's happening? Anyone? Am I getting rogued?
You're back now. Back now.
Oh. Fucking Twitter.
You didn't cut out. Heard you all along.
I mean, I just want to ask though, who else like pretty much like claimed like one of the first like Cosmos airdrops through watching a Liam video? Like literally, come on, probably fucking the vast majority of us, right?
Well, I didn't do a tutorial for Osmosis or Juno, so I imagine quite a few people claimed their first airdrops through those two chains, maybe.
Maybe the OGs, but didn't a lot of people like come in after Osmosis like kicked off? There was like a lot of people late to the party, right?
Yeah, you're right. I was one of them.
What do you mean? Like you came into Cosmos like late?
Well, no, I was already in like Cosmos, but my Atom were on like a centralized exchange, so like I never properly came into Cosmos until maybe just after IBC went live on Osmosis and Osmosis launched its airdrop. And then I missed the Juno drop because I didn't stake in time, like before, I can't remember the name of the upgrade, but before that upgrade. So actually, yeah, I missed Osmosis and Juno as airdrops.
It was called the Stargate upgrade, wasn't it? Yeah, in February 2021. Yeah. Stargate upgrade,
exactly.
Which was.
So I think. Go on, sorry, carry on.
No, that was the IBC enablement. Sorry, dude, I was just saying that was when IBC was fully enabled, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I was going to say, like, I probably staked, like, I probably took my Atom off of like Binance, I think around March time. So it literally was like a week or two after the Stargate upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say this about that was really fucking bad what happened. Especially like things like Binance and that. People got their atoms stuck on like Binance for like fucking 3-4 weeks or something. Like not like you couldn't do anything, and you'd like if it was stuck on, or like what was it again? Atomic Wallet or Exodus was the other one, wasn't it? Right? Like literally, your Atom just got like frozen for like ages and ages. There was so many people kicking off. That was ridiculous, right? Tank, we try and do to get you up. Liam and our Tank's been dying to come up and talk to you. Tank, can you get that co-host on her? Got now size drop down. So if you can grab the co-host, Tank, but we are trying, brother. Yeah, Liam, I did want to ask you something, dude, about other ecos, because we've got Don down there. I saw Rec Raffle was in for a little bit. Liam, do you do any other business like over on like Ethereum? I heard you mention about Avalanche and the subnets. Obviously, you're taking an interest in what's going on elsewhere, but what about your daily business? Is it 100% like Cosmos, or are you doing stuff elsewhere?
Actually, another reason why I stopped my content is I didn't have enough time to do all of my own business, right? Like I wasn't trading, I wasn't managing my investments as well as I could, in my opinion. And to be honest, even now, I'm not doing like as much as I'd like, but I'm actually pretty much all Cosmos. Like I don't really use Ethereum. The fees are high. It's a bit of a pain in the ass. I occasionally like mess around on Polygon. I'm gonna hopefully go on to Optimism and Arbitrum at some point, play around with them. I'll obviously want to explore Avalanche. Occasionally do something on Polkadot. Like I've got some Akala. I've got some Astar from the crowd loans. So I did the crowd loans when that happened. But actually the main thing I've been doing recently is I hold Stargate, STG tokens, and I basically vote on their proposals. And I'm basically just doing it to farm the Layer 0 airdrop. So that's all I'm really doing at the moment outside of Cosmos. My thesis, right, just for a bit of extra perspective before I stop talking again, Like my thesis is like Cosmos, because you can launch any chain in Cosmos, like there's going to be enough like different chains and different products across the whole of the Cosmos ecosystem that I don't really need to focus my investment elsewhere, except to kind of like counter my thesis that there'll be successful app chains in Cosmos. So I do have some Bitcoin and Ethereum, of course. I have a lot of Ethereum, like probably about the same as I hold an Atom. And yeah, my thesis is generally stay in Cosmos. There's so much like abundance in this ecosystem that if I focus all my time understanding Cosmos, researching, and by the way, still not fully up to date because there's just so many chains now that I won't really need to look elsewhere as much. But I do have a few investments, and I think Stargate, by the way, and Layer Zero is going to be quite a strong candidate as a not necessarily alternative to Cosmos, but as a chain that can come through as a success. That's just my thoughts.
What do you think about the kind of like counter arguments about like, you know, liquidity not great, like TVLs? If you look at like some other ecos, you know, like if you're going to look at something like Ethereum or whatever, of course, but there's like, you know, fractured liquidity is becoming a problem. You know, if you look at like all the NFT projects on Stargaze, does that worry you, Liam, or do you think the liquidity will come the next like bull market?
It's something I thought about. Like, I think everyone's got to focus on building infrastructure, right? You know, anyone you ask pretty much across all these chains. But actually, we need to build products. So it's something I have thought about. We need products, not just infra, because if you've got infra and no products, you have nothing, basically. So I would like to see more products built. I'd like to see like solutions to fragmented liquidity and stuff. But actually, no, it doesn't worry me. I think when you look at the way that traditional systems work, like the way we organize humans globally, right, we're very much organized into distinct communities of varying sizes from small, medium to large size communities. You know, like the UK's a geographic community of people. The city London's like a community of people within the UK, right? And you can look at this from like gaming, you can look at it from the perspective of like interests. Like on the internet, like communities aren't just based on geographic location, they're based on interests. So you have a community of people who are interested in cars, for example, that will chat on the internet, share pictures, make events, go to real life events. You'll have like a community of people interested in I don't know, pine trees, and they'll all meet up and talk online and like have a space where they all hang out. And like my vision or perspective or understanding of like blockchains is it's kind of like you can have these communities centered around these blockchain databases, right? And these blockchains can have different characteristics depending on which communities are in charge of those blockchains. So then these blockchains can be designed to serve the communities in the best way possible. And that will change the design. Things like transactions per second, maybe certain modules that are beneficial for DeFi, certain modules beneficial for NFTs, whatever. So like basically my perspective long term is that we'll end up with many different blockchains, right? Whether they're roll-ups, whether they're part of the Ethereum ecosystem and it's just layer 2s, or whether they're independent app chains, or whether they're app chains secured by the Cosmos Hub, doesn't matter. Like I think we will have blockchains that will be specific to different communities because that's how we can organize people in the blockchain space. We can't just have one blockchain hosting every community. That would be like having a one world with a ruler controlling the entire world. You basically have no choice, and having no choice is really, really bad. So yeah, that's kind of my perspective. I think the Cosmos vision fits my thesis for the blockchain space the best. Multiple chains, different security models, different levels of sovereignty, and lots of options for consumers. That was a bit of a ramble, by the way, but does that answer your question?
Oh, mate, I love it, man. This is exactly what we wanted you on the show for, man, Liam, man. Didn't it? Honestly, didn't worry about that, son. Right, Liam, I've got to do this. By the way, I'm going to really enjoy the playback of this one, like, because we always say that, you know, when you're hosting, it's not the same as when you're like down there as a listener enjoying it. I'm going to enjoy the replay. Right, I promised Ambedo, Liam, I would ask you about this. Apparently, you're a huge fan of Passage and Strange Clan. Is that right or not?
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it is. I'm pretty bullish on them. Yeah.
Is that okay? So are you, obviously you're an NFT holder, I take it, are you? Are you waiting for the game coming out or what?
Yeah. I've got a bunch of Passage NFTs, but I also hold Pixel Wizards, Bad Kids, all of these other ones. So I'm
Well,
not a
I
Passage
was
maxi, so to speak.
right. Well, we've got Cosmic Horizons coming on Monday. So I kind of wanted to just like ask you about what you think about the state of gaming on Cosmos, because a lot of people believed that like it was going to be like this big thing. There'd be like, gaming's, well, Saga, I think now we're doing it kind of thing, aren't they? If you were to look at gaming elsewhere, especially like things like Ethereum, Phantom Galaxies, some of the bigger projects, right? We've been talking about GTA 6 earlier. Is Cosmos gaming, or gaming on Cosmos IBC, is it lacking? Does it need an injection? I mean, what's going on? How does the landscape look to you, Liam?
I think it's like I don't know how best to word it, but I think Cosmos Gaming is pretty much non-existent. Like we have a few projects trying to build out some stuff. Don't get me wrong. Like even like your casino, for example, is like a game. Like, and there are like small games around, but it just doesn't have like this funding. Like, it doesn't have like $100 million in funding, like gaming on Polygon, for example. I don't know if you saw. Oh God, what were they called? It was like one of the big card games. They did like heroes that looked like like Cryptocito, Jacob. I can't remember what it's called now, but anyway,
the Kepler one, the guy that moved. Kellepar. He moved, didn't he? He moved, right?
Yeah, he moved, and they also rebranded their name, so they're not called Kellepar anymore. It's called like something else. Ashen Horizons, it's called now. But yeah, they moved over to Polygon, and the reason is there's just a lot more tooling over on Polygon. There's a lot more money over there. There's a bigger gaming community there, so it just meant their game was more likely to succeed over on Polygon. And I think that's kind of what the situation is for Cosmos. Like, we just don't have all the tooling we need. We don't have the funding, and we don't have this kind of community of gamers that are kind of all in one place. It's a bit fragmented. Like, there's definitely gamers around, but that's what I think is a big struggle in Cosmos for gaming projects right now, is like, how do you achieve a product market fit in a sector that doesn't really have a cohesive gaming scene? So I think we need to basically build that community from the ground up for gaming in Cosmos to be a success. Hopefully Passage can do it. Hopefully you guys can help, and other people with gaming products can help do that.
Is block time fundamental, do you think? That, like, not only block time, but like that rendering layer as well. So, I mean, obviously we've got like Akash, but more importantly, I think we've got Kudos coming along, didn't I? Think they did the IBC launch around about, IBC connectivity around about January. And they're hoping for like amazing like layer of like rendering. Like, do you think it's the technical things that we need, or is it the other things like you're talking about, like, the marketing, the outreach? Do you think the tech will bring like the other one, or what?
I think Saga could help bring a lot of gamers into the ecosystem, but they're kind of like more lent towards Polygon anyway, just because of how their stack works. But I'm not sure, man. I think it's not just the tech that's needed. Like, yeah, there's definitely tech that needs to be built out. Like you mentioned this rendering stuff. Like, I don't know about that specifically, but I think a lot of people just want to build on-chain games, and you can't really do that without fast transactions per second, because you can't have a game where like someone gets an NFT in the game. Like, imagine, I don't know, an open world game, and you go to like a treasure chest and you find like an axe, and you pick up the axe and you want to use that axe, but guess what? You can't use it because you have to wait 7 seconds before you own it, because that block hasn't been processed yet. So you need very fast transactions per second, because you need to put all of these like items that you get in game into NFTs, right? And that just takes time. So like for me, like from my perspective, because I was going to kind of propose to build a game around Stargaze, and I had like the on-chain proposal all prepared to go on chain, or at least on Commonwealth. Like, I had a whole Twitter thread. It was like 20 tweets. And I also had 3 different documents on how the game would work. So like I was very close to like taking this further. And I just decided like there wasn't enough product market fit to take the risk. and off on us to spend community funds, right? But yeah, I just think it's not just about the infra in response to your question. It's also about like how we're using blockchain in games. Like having certain games all on chain would make sense, perhaps. I'm not saying it definitely would, and I'm not saying what type of games it would. But it might make sense for all of, say, a strategy game perhaps to be on chain because it's slower, it's time based. But if you imagine a first person shooter or your favorite racing game, you're probably not going to want all of the actions taken in game to be recorded on chain because that's very expensive and slow. It takes up a lot of block space, which is why it can get expensive. And it's slow because you have to fill block space and then wait for the next block to kind of have more actions. And you can't do that if you're like, let me put it in perspective. Like some games, when like a fighting game, when you play it, like a high level fighting game at a competitive level, you're doing maybe 600 inputs on your controller a second, like a minute, sorry, 600 inputs a minute. So about 60 inputs a second. Like that's a lot of inputs. So like imagine you're trying to record the state of the game on the blockchain. Suddenly you've got to record 60 inputs every second per person playing this fighting game at the same time as someone else. Not possible to scale that massively. Maybe it is one day, it's not right now. So I think Web2 gaming can actually easily transition to Web3 if the actual gameplay stays off-chain and what you record on-chain is just the ownership of in-game items like skins perhaps or something different. Now that doesn't work for open world games where it's like you're kind of like earning these items real time. But if you take like a game like a fighting game where you play a fighting game and then it ends the game, goes back to the title screen, you could actually get rewards at the end of a game, which you might have to wait a few seconds to be recorded on a block before you can customize your character in the character selection screen, for example. That was a long rant, but that's just my thoughts, and I hope it gives at least some perspective, man.
Liam, absolutely perfect, because you know why? This is what we've been talking about for months, is about the Web2 trade-offs with gaming and like exactly what needs to, because so RAC FM from day one would have been like a casino. They were like, okay, the integrity of being like 100% on chain, we're not going to like jeopardize it, even if it's like we have to wait for shorter block times to create certain games. So the Rocket game, they've had the Rocket game codes and everything ready, contracts ready to deploy for over a year. Well, almost a year, I should say. Sorry, around about June last year. But the block time has dictated the fact that they just can't do it. Like that particular game, that particular block time, it's impossible to be able to execute that game. And they were like, well, we're not going to launch it because we're not willing to have a trade-off. But like you say, these big games and like what exactly needs to be on the chain is one of the biggest discussions out there in regards to like Web3 gaming. That is like the number one convo right now. What needs to be on chain and what can we like, where's the trade-off? What can we substitute, right?
That's a really good question. Because obviously the assets in the game that you own as a player like needs to be on chain, because the on-chain ownership can be proven that way. The NFT is like a container which proves the ownership of an asset in game on the blockchain. Like the NFT itself isn't the asset's stored potentially off-chain, like the same with NFTs, right? NFTs, like PFP collections, they're not on-chain, are they? They're stored in IPFS. It's just the ownership is provable on-chain in the NFT, which then points to the file which contains the picture or the PFP or the character, whatever. So like you also need to track ownership, in my opinion, but you also need to track on-chain data as well for a player. Because like the whole benefit of NFTs in gaming is you can basically have more sovereignty over your assets. You can sell them for real money, or you can take your assets into another gaming economy, right? And the only way you can do that is by those assets being provably owned, but also your achievements in game need to be on chain, because otherwise you can't prove someone, say, played 2,000 hours of a game and therefore they're entitled to this drop in the second release of the game or something, as an example. So yeah, I think everything needs to be on game in terms of achievements, assets, like data like that. But the actual gameplay experience can be off chain, and you just record that at the end of, say, a gaming session, for example. Even if that takes a while to upload, it's when you stop playing the game then upload the data, and you don't affect their playing experience as much that way.
Hey, Liam, look at this. We're being joined, right? Listen to this. We're being joined by not only another Brit, but we've actually been joined by Atom royalty in the room here. Hello, Mr. Bendy. Welcome there, brother. How you doing? You all right?
I'm good, mate. Laughing my head off to be described as Atom royalty, but there we go.
Dude, I feel blessed. I feel blessed. This is like twice in a week because we had your friend Funky on the other day. Yeah.
Oh, I love Funky. He's great. I don't know if you've just seen what we've just tweeted from the accelerator, but MetaMask is coming to Cosmos.
No way. Officially? Oh, class.
Yeah,
wow.
Coming September.
Liam, thoughts?
Really great news. Obviously, there was a teaser about them coming over already. I think like one of their like devs or something made a comment on offering services in Cosmos, but I didn't know that would maybe be coming from the Atom Accelerator. Is that something you guys are funding?
Yeah, so we're working with a guy called Joe at Mystic Labs. We're co-funding it with OGP because what Joe is building is something that will work for basically every standard Cosmos chain. So I think basically MetaMask are launching a thing called Snaps, which will allow you to so other ecosystems are going to do the same thing, and you can. It's like an extension to your MetaMask, as it were. You add a snap that's for Cosmos, or you add one for, I don't know, some other ecosystem, right? But what was originally being looked at was individual chains would just like create their own snap. So you would be like, oh, here's one for the hub, and here's one for Osmosis, and here's one for Agoric, and they would all be separate, which would just be shit UX. And what instead is going to happen now is this is more of a kind of universal implementation. So you download a Cosmos snap to add it to your wallet. When you click connect via MetaMask, it will just load that in. And then and he's working with Cosmology to mean that basically everyone can just add it to their front ends in the same way as at the moment you can pick to add Kepler, to connect with Kepler. So it should be like. So you'll be able to sign your transactions for all Cosmos chains, all standard Cosmos chains with MetaMask, which is just incredible.
Yeah, it's a really good UX advantage, kind of getting the Ethereum ecosystem into Cosmos, right? A big barrier we've talked about for a long time. So that sounds really, really good, man.
I mean, that's why I've bounced in here, because I was so excited. I finally got the confirmation that the last bit of paperwork had been done. And I was just like, oh, right, okay, get the tweet out. And then saw there was a space going on. So I thought I'd dive in, because I just, there's no one in my house for me to share how excited I am.
I'm absolutely buzzing for you, Bendy. Absolutely fucking buzzing, because you did mention this on the space a couple of weeks ago, right? You were like, there's rumors that MetaMask may be coming, but bro, come on, this is are you going to onboard the ETH community through Evmos? Of course not.
So the next thing I really want to work on is basically I want a cross Cosmos initiative to onboard ETH users in September, so that actually we subsidize bridging fees from ETH to Cosmos, right? For that month or whatever, and basically because MetaMask will do a big push for snaps in general, but what we should do is have this really aligned Cosmos wide, let's get ETH people in and kind of do a big marketing push in September. That's my next kind of big goal with this, because it's great to have the tech and it will mean that we can all onboard people that way. But what the next thing to do is basically make sure that via Cosmology everyone has their dApps lined up so that day one everything kind of just works. We encourage users over. We have a load of educational videos. We make it really clear. The tech is just the first step in making it work. You've got to, as you would talk about it, it's like building the culture, right? So
you're gonna get them on RAC. You're gonna get them on the RAC casino, are you? You're gonna get us some liquidity, Bendy.
But it's what we've got to do. We've got to get we've got to showcase ourselves. To it's the biggest the ETH community is like the biggest market we could possibly get to. And if MetaMask are going to do a big push for snaps, we want to make sure that our snap is the one where you have the best possible experience. And that it means that chains have got to bring their A game.
RAC FM is kind of like really ironic, guys, because there was a list of talking points for Liam tonight, right? And then one of the final talking points of the evening was going to be, what was Liam's thoughts on Prop 95? How does he feel about the accelerator DAO? Like, I just want to get his idea. Tonight we've just been like generalizing, you know, like, what do you think about like the bigger picture here? So Liam, I mean, that's really good news. I'm going to go back to that point before we welcome Timmy very quickly. What, were you a fan of 95? Did you support it? And do you think the accelerator guys are doing quite well or what?
I wasn't really like majorly opposed to it. I'm not sure. The struggle I found with governance is it's very hard to measure success of like spending, right? Because you're not really sure like if the initiative's going to be any good, and then if it's for an accelerator DAO, you're not sure like how much of an impact they have on the chain, because you don't know how well the projects they fund are going to do and stuff. So I actually do think it's really difficult to actually assess like all of these funding requests and whether or not they're going to be advantageous. But I actually have come around now. I can't really talk how I felt at the time because I can't remember. But now I think like the accelerator DAO is actually pretty good in the perspective that we're trying to kind of build this narrative around the atom economic zone. And I think kind of building that narrative is to have the accelerator DAO helping all kinds of toolings and projects launch around that zone specifically. So I'm not opposed to community pool spending. I think the hub can absorb the selling pressure. And I don't think it's a major problem for Atom compared to other chains where, you know, maybe they're not as liquid and there's more kind of bearish price action from their funding. But that's just me, and it's not a strong opinion, but I'd be interested to hear what everyone else thinks.
195 was only like back in January. I mean, they've only been like, obviously by the time the funds are distributed, they can get it up and running. I think that was like well into February. You know, they've only been up and running about 3 months, and they've already got MetaMask. I don't know how Timmy, what do you think about the good news about MetaMask coming? Is it big? Is it a nothing burger?
I am only on stage because it kept cutting out when I'm just a listener. I can't really speak right now.
Oh, it's all right, dude. No worries. I know it's fucking
Sorry.
shit. That's all right, dude. It's shit tonight.
Fucking Elon.
Bendy, are you happy with your success so far? Like the moves you've made, the progress? Are you comfortable?
I suppose it's not really for me to say whether, because you know it's up to the community. We exist to serve them. I am happy. I think we've done some good things. I think there's a lot more to be done. I would also like to see more people come into the space because I think there's more work than we can do. I think that's been one of the really interesting things for me is just like, the kind of nascent demand for someone to come and talk to and ask for funding of, or come up with ideas or try and collaborate. And, you know, I think that like we're a relatively small team, you know, once you count the oversight committee, what are we, like 10, 11 people? You know, most of whom aren't working full time, right? Because people are, you know, the reviewers basically, their job is to read applications, set up interviews, do those, vote on things like that's. But like, you can see there's a huge amount of like more to be done for Atom. And at the moment, we're the only ones outside of like a, you know, an informal or whatever who kind of work more on the kind of code based side of things. But in terms of that biz dev space, we're like the only people doing that. And I think they're like, so I am very pleased with the things that we've achieved so far, but I do think there's a huge amount more. So I would hate to come on here and say, hey, we're brilliant and I'm totally complacent about everything, because I just think there's so much more potential than what has been done. So I don't want to sound like I'm trying to balance here sounding bullish on ourselves and bearish in terms of it's always like my view will always be it's great what we've done, but we need to do more. And I think that's a really healthy attitude to have, because otherwise we're just going to get into some sort of like, oh, we're amazing, which is just not a healthy attitude.
I do like what Liam said though, and that should resonate with the entire community, because everybody said the same thing. When it comes to this like community funding right now, and if you look at like obviously price action that we've seen, etc., there is only Atom that can absorb the kind of selling pressure from like an $8 million, whatever it is, $8 million fund or something, Bendy, right? Like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it varies a bit with price action. I mean, like, you know, that's all spaced across the year. Not everyone's going to sell immediately, but yeah, like the big advantage, you know, the thing that Atom has going for it is it has meaningful, deep liquidity in multiple places. I think, you know, one of the things that dawned on me recently is like, during the bull, everyone was like shitting on centralized exchanges, and rightly so to a certain extent. But then, you know, one of the reasons why Atom is so resilient is because it has deep liquidity on centralized exchanges. So I think there are sort of like some financial realities that chains unfortunately have had to learn during the bear that Atom has kind of been slightly immune to. So that does put us in, you know, it gives us the position to be able to fund things, but it's also why, for example, you know, this MetaMask funding is effectively, this is an interchain public good. This is why we've come together with OGP, because we've basically gone, like, we want to benefit all of Cosmos. It's absolutely a net positive for Atom. It's a net positive for Osmosis. It's totally within our remit, but it's also going to benefit everyone else. And some of the chains that are going to benefit just wouldn't be able to put up the collateral to support the development in time, because, you know, it's a very tight timeline to turn this round. And the typical thing that I think that would have happened pre-Prop 95 is we would have missed the boat. And every other ecosystem would have had their foundations sort shit out, and they'd have got ready for snaps, and they'd have all launched, and we'd have gone, oh yeah, Cosmos isn't very good at this, and that kind of is where I feel we might have ended up. So that's why I think it's really good to have teams that are available to deploy capital quickly when opportunities arise. I do want to go back to what Liam said. Liam said about sort of public governance funding. And I guess he was talking about it in relation to 95, but I'm still kind of keen that, you know, for certain things, they should go via public governance, or they, you know, they might not want to be funded by us. They might want to actually get the kind of endorsement of the wider community, or you know, or there should be other DAOs doing similar work to what we're doing. And, you know, I think that the community pool should be kind of exist with intentionality, and where there are good things for it to do, it should be put to work, because, you know, you should see an ROI on a lot of these things. Not everything's going to be a home run, but, you know, something like the investment in MetaMask, I would be astonished if it isn't.
Liam, any responses?
No thoughts specifically. I actually have to jump off in a sec because I've got some work to do for Snake Ceto. So yeah, sorry, I couldn't catch the end of what you were saying there, Bendy, so I do apologize. But I guess I can hang around for like 5 minutes if there's any last questions or anything that you want to go over.
Liam, I've got to say, you've been golden. You've been a lovely guest, man. I knew you were going to be, and it's absolutely fantastic to have you on the show. Like, it's a proper honor, dude. I've really enjoyed it. And you know, I'm just gutted that people have been getting rugged. Like, if we'd had, you know, B-Barnes, and if we'd had Bruce, and if Finn's even been getting rugged, if we'd had the other, like, people who were involved in RAC FM, it would have been even better. But, dude, putting that to one side, I've really enjoyed like 2 hours of your time. Dude, I've been like dying to speak. Like, since I think I jumped on a space the other week, the Omni space you were on, right? For a little bit, yeah. But I'm going to be honest here, right? Okay, fanboy moment for Robo. I was watching the stream swap video, and then you put the RAC FM Imagine the Smell clip on, right? And what happened is that finished, and you were like, that went to you on the camera, and you were like, your face was just like, oh, and you were like, I wasn't expecting that, dude. Liam, I was ill laughing. Like, it was so funny, dude. Really cool. Like,
it was a great, it was a great song, man. I just wasn't ready for it at all, and it was really good. Which was, it was a good vibe for sure.
Did you hear the second one? Did you hear the second one that we obviously we asked for pre-registrations on Juno, but then we dropped some copies on Omniflix? Did you hear that?
I haven't heard the second one actually. No, and I need to listen to it because someone was telling me in one of the Omniflix spaces, and I was like, oh, I need to go and listen to that, and I still haven't done it, so I should get on that.
It's got Jake Hartnell on it. It's really good, the sampling, and I've got to say it. Yeah, Finn's. It's actually, I think there's like, someone bought a copy today, actually. I think there's like 4 copies left for sale on Omniflix. It's like, I think it's like 6 flicks or something, which is like so cheap now. I think there's like 4 copies left to be able to grab or something, but I don't know. It's just one of those. And I'm just going to tell everyone, I have already seen the artwork by Ambedo and listened to, which is not the final version. Finn's brother's still got to put the scratching in, but the next rap, the next record, the next drop, like I've already seen what's coming, and it's, guys, the artwork is just next level. If you get it, you get it. Some of Ambedo's best ever work, but it's again, it's just like a little bit different, little bit of a different vibe. Like, and then what's going to happen is that the 4th one will be like the EP. And we're in talks with Omniflix now about exactly how to do it, like what you might need to burn to be able to do what. So I am going to say quickly before Liam goes, in the nest, guys, you'll see the link, right, for the 5th out of 10. So these are the proof of attendance that we're doing. Click on, you've got to watch the little interactive video, and there's a question about Liam. We've got so far, guys, 225 people who have collected all 4. Well, they collected the 3, and then we airdropped the 4th, which was the rap, if you remember. Yeah, Imagine the Smell. So basically, go on Coinlanding.page, sorry, yeah, because Liam hasn't got long. Go on, yeah.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll take the last moment.
No worries. I just want to say, guys, yeah, go and grab that one because we might be opening up an event where, you know, if you've missed out on one of the first 5, you'll be able to put your address in and which one you've missed, and we'll bulk mint them out to fill your collection. At the halfway point, we want to be like making you whole. But grab the 5th one. It's Brasco, and what he's done is he's animated the album art. So if anyone's been going to racfm.org, following like our landing page, what Finn's done, you'll see the album art for every show. Brasco's animated, and he's put like the proof of attendance on, and we put a little voice clip in to make you laugh. So definitely grab that. We'll probably close it in about 48 hours, and then we'll be sending the NFTs out. Yeah, so Liam, that one's to mark your appearance tonight, bro. And I'll hand it over to Coinlanding.page.
Yeah, so some people will probably already know what's going to follow. But I was going to ask, Liam, thank you for your attendance and all your opinions. Really nice to hear you. And it's been a while since you've been really vocal again. But I was wondering if you'd be interested to take a little tour through Coinlanding.page and maybe see if you're interested to talk with me about the UX in the Cosmos and see how we could improve that.
Oh, you've really put me on the spot here. I mean, yeah, at some point we can for sure. Obviously now I'm quite busy today. But yeah, if you want to kind of ping some stuff over, I can take a look, and I'd be happy to jump on a call for 10, 15 minutes if you want to discuss stuff and go over things. Yeah, sure thing.
Yeah, sure. No rush, man. If I can send you a DM, is that possible?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, send it over.
I'll send you Liam. A DM, and then we'll see a moment to speak to each other. And if you want to see any of my material, just go to Coinlanding.page. You'll see everything you need to see.
Basically, Liam, right, I'm going to tell you, there's only 2 people ever allowed to shill in our spaces, right? But there's only 2 people. The other one's got his hand up, and one of them's just spoken. Go on then, Timmy.
I was just going to say, I almost forgot. Liam, check your message requests on Twitter here. I sent you something from the Taboo account. Taboo app. Just a quick question for you. And feel free to reply at your leader. No rush or anything.
Sure. Yeah, gotcha. No worries.
Cool. Great space, by the way. Enjoyed listening.
Right, Liam.
Yeah, thanks for having me, by the way.
Liam, this has been one of our most like chilled out in the hammock, like Fridays that we've ever had. I'm a bit gutted about like my usual cause, like getting rogued. Like that's just been Twitter. We're lucky to have pulled it off. At least we've got the recording. But dude, what a great guest! Knowledgeable, well thought, and the word I like to use for Liam, guys, is wholesome, isn't he? Like if you're gonna be like paying attention to like people in crypto and blah blah blah, you need all kinds, right? Chris is the co-host. I don't know if he's got any words before we go to Liam to close us out, but I'm going to use that word, wholesome, right, Chris? Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Great space. It was great listening to you again, Liam. Love your take on certain things, and it's great to have you back around.
Thanks for having me, Chris. Thanks for having me, Robo, Timmy, Coinlanding.page. Yeah, it's been awesome stuff. I didn't expect to stay this long, but it's just been a good vibe. It's been nice to chat. I didn't feel like, some spaces you go to and you're like, okay, I've got to be really serious here and make sure I speak correctly and all of that jazz. It's quite nice to just kind of kick back on this one and chat with you guys. So really appreciate it. And it was good to actually chat with you. Obviously I've seen you guys about for a while. Sometimes you're involved in drama, sometimes you're not. So I was like, hey, I'll just go in a space and speak with you guys. It's been awesome. So thanks for having me.
Excuse me for the noise, but feel welcome to join whenever you want, man. This is a chill space. Always welcome.
Liam, you know what we describe it as? It's like you come over to the house, the family house for dinner, and then after dinner we're all stuffed and we sit down with a little sherry round the fire and we have a little bit of crack. That's the kind of vibe we try to create, whether it's like, an influencer like yourself or whether it's an L1. We want everyone to know that, like, yeah, I'm going to go over there and just vibe a little bit and be myself, And you have been tonight, mind. And for that, I have to thank you, dude. We thank you, the RAC FM collective, anyway. Anyway, dude, go and do your work, right? You've served us long enough, bro. Thank you so much, Liam, yeah?
Thanks, guys. Take care. Enjoy the rest of the space.
Grab your NFT, right? Take care, brother.
Take care. Bye.
Yeah, guys, what a great space. What I am going to do is close this down with a little outro for Finn, because Finn likes these little Easter egg kind of things. I just want to say a big thank you to all of you people who have been both listeners and speakers. Yous are invaluable. Like, we do this kind of like for the people that might be at work, they're in a fucking in real life job, they're like, fuck, or they're sitting there coding all day, or whatever it is. There's some noise in the background, right? You can get into. But also, we're trying to build bridges, like block gaps, etc. Just try and be better people, like, constantly, and by trying to get guests like Liam on and just having these open, conversations. I think that's RAC FM's trying to achieve what it kind of set out to be. I don't know what you guys want to say before I close it out. I just feel like we're heading in the right direction, RAC FM, Maybe a bit less controversial and a bit more relevant. I don't know.
Oh,
what do you think?
Nail on the head there, Robo. It was a really good one. It was nice to listen to. I laid down in the park, just taking in some information and some opinions. Beautiful. But, the spice of drama is always nice to listen to as well.
I would say, guys, if you haven't listened to the Wrecked Raffle the other night, that it's on Spotify, it's on racfm.org, it's on all iTunes, Google Podcasts, etc. You find RAC FM everywhere, right? Whatever your preferred kind of like platform for your media is. I will say the Wreck Raffle one was just such good crack and like banter and like laughter. Like these classic RAC FMs only come along every like so often. If you compare that to say like what we did last night with Jared and Zion, and then if you compare that to, you couldn't get three more different shows. So like, it's about kind of being a little bit of a chameleon, isn't it? Like trying to blend, etc. But I'm going to tell you this, guys. Listen, Taboo. Timmy, can we say this, right? Because I think it was on an unrecorded one last night. So Taboo's not the mint, but the pre-mint or pre-mint launch party is going to be on RAC FM. Is that right, Timmy? Going to sort that out, yeah?
Yes, sir. Exact date to be determined, but sooner than later. We'll let people know.
within like about 48 hours of the mint or something. Yeah, well, that'll be cushion.
And actually, you know, because we're not doing a mint, like this is totally free and airdropped. Maybe I mint them a little early and we give some out to people during the launch party. That could be fun.
That could fucking work for me, bro.
I'll get back to you on that, Robo. Yeah.
Anyway, guys, I want to say I am looking forward to that. Go on, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Timmy, be sure to get me that submission for Taboo. I'll be sure to not upload it before you post the article.
I literally didn't understand the first part of your sentence. You talking about you on like the landing page designs and such? I'm guessing.
Not necessarily the landing page designs, but sorry, I'm in a shop now. But just like the information and yeah, basically the what it's on about. Get
cool.
It submitted
yeah. Right now, I'd say the best kind of single compilation of info, I'll pin it above for anyone interested, is the article on Interchain info about it. That has like a pretty detailed breakdown with more, info than we put on Twitter. So if you're curious about what kind of sets it apart from other wallets, here we go. I'll pin it above, and I appreciate everyone's interest. I actually got super fortunate and had a choice between a couple of Web3 jobs. Like there were a couple teams that reached out to me, and I went with this one for a reason, because I think like making a good, easy, intuitive wallet is like key for mass adoption and onboarding. So I'm also passionate about this, my Spark stuff.
I've heard the team are cool as fuck as well. I've heard like Brandon and them's like cool as fuck to work with. Though. That's what I've
totally.
Heard.
Yeah.
All right. Really good crowd. I've heard Umi crowd are fucking class apparently. I mean, I've spotted them a couple of times, like on that odd spaces and stuff like that. But I've heard like they're really yeah.
So here's what's interesting. The one thing I want to make clear about Taboo, it's somehow weirdly legally connected to Umi. But like they're very separate. It even has its own finance sources and investors and such. So like there is no bias there. Like Brandon, for example, me, we don't touch Umi stuff. And I think that's crucial for a wallet. That was kind of one of the things I was hesitant about at first, but then they explained to me like how separate they are. There wouldn't be bias. The wallet's going to support Umi, Mars, Kava, all that stuff equally. And I was like, all right, okay, I like that. Because an Umi wallet would be cool, but what we really want is a true interchain wallet.
Oh, I mean, mute, guys, I'm getting rugged again. The mute button's getting stuck. It's literally properly getting stuck here. So I think we're getting rugged. I'm going to wind it down. Timmy, mind, by the way, jump in and listen to that space the other night with Ari from Zengo. They're doing quite an interesting thing with the multi-party computation stuff. Like if you're just into wallets, and obviously that's what you're working on at the minute, there might be like a decent space for you to check out. I mean, Finn said it sounded like I was on Crenshaw Boulevard because I was like on the way home across Bangkok.
Wait, can you give me a super quick TLDR? I'm not familiar with them at all. Like what?
Well, they're out.
Is it possible to summarize in a sentence or not really?
Okay, they've been around for 5 years, 800,000 users, and they've never had one compromise yet. There's no seed phrase. They use multi-party computation, which is what like TradeFi uses to secure like billions and billions in assets. They also have the ClearSign, like a browser, which is like a firewalled browser that would stop anything. So like basically they've never fucking lost anything ever. But you can put your Bored Ape in Zengo and it's going to be safe. It's quite an interesting. I mean, MPC is quite an interesting fucking technology. I didn't realize outside of Web3 just how big and important it was and just what it was doing. These are the kind of the first guys. Well, they're not the first guys to employ it in Web3, but they're the first guys who employed it in Web3 in this manner with a wallet. It's the only wallet that exists that does this. So there's no safe phrase. You've got half, their servers have got half, but it's kind of like cryptography that brings the whole thing together, if that makes sense, right? And they haven't got 2FA, they've got 3FA, which is like this facial recognition technology as well, where it also like cryptography like scrambles your image. So like, you know, with a centralized exchange, and I'm going to end the space very quickly. I just want to quickly say this about the wallet. Do you know a centralized exchange? Like you got to do the facial recognition and you know, your passport, you like, or the date of, you know, you put the date on a piece of paper and you're like, they've got that image, right? This 3FA technology that they've got, which is your email, it is your facial recognition, and the third one is like a file that's put on your, saved on your Google Drive. But like the file is like kind of like unreadable, if that makes sense. It can only be read by you trying to put the wallet back like on your phone again. 800,000 users, 5 years. They've never had one lost wallet. They've got 24-hour customer support. Like I said, they're out to Tel Aviv, and you know what the Israelis are like. This guy moved from like Chicago to Tel Aviv, the communications manager, just to be like there where the project is, you know, the proper serious. But it's like, it's interesting tech anyway, Timmy. I'm going to end it on that because we did this the other night. Finn's come in, look, he's going to be like, get out the fucking space, guys. 2 hours, 24 minutes. I'm feeling you, Finn. I'm feeling you. So yeah, Timmy, go and check that out the other night. What, Ari? Like 2 nights ago, Wednesday? Yeah. Anyway, there's the emojis.
Yeah, sounds interesting.
There's the emojis. Cheers to KRIS for keeping us going tonight without the co-host that have been lost. The amount of times I've had to log out, log back in. If you missed the beginning or you missed the bulk of like Liam, I do suggest go back and listen to the guy. Fast forward through me, listen to him. You'll really enjoy it. I'll tell you what I might do though, guys. I might spin up in a bit later, an unrecorded one. I'm going to find out what's happening with B-Band, see what the crack is, and find out. Anyway, take care, right? Good night. God bless you all. We love you. Over and out from Dublin RAC FM. 69.420 FM, coming in your ears 5 days a week. Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. EST. God bless. Godspeed. Take care.
There's this principle in like Taoism. There's this principle in like Taoism where it's like the more you fight something, the more like the opposite of what you want, like just inevitably kind of starts to happen. There's this principle in like Taoism where it's like the more you fight something, the more like the opposite of what you want, inevitably it kind of starts to happen.
Chirping on the bird app, listening to nerds flap, wondering why the fuck my timeline's so cursed. It's like everybody's holding heavy bags in Web3. That's why they can't fly, they just drowning in the bird bath, fishing for some dry powder. Watch how we ignite the tower, blowing up their bank accounts, forgetting how to fight the power. Y'all don't even realize how deep this shit goes. They preach an open source, but don't listen to the code. And now it's mutiny, community, uprise. There's no more humility, futility, plus size. Motherfuckers leaking from the wrench down to the bare metal. Which side the line you bleeding out on when the dust settles? Motherfucking west side shit, needle and noose. Sticking with my armory, and Beto and Bruce. Reppin' psychedelic artistry, believing the truth. Like these motherfuckers even need a reason to sue? GM fam.
Really worth all the effort? Is it really worth all the fighting? Is it really worth all the drama? And the answer, I think, is a clear no.
We started using Zoom, now we finna zoom out. Teaching all these plebiscites what this game's really all about. Little baby bitches when they choose to have fits. All you're left with is kibble when you lose all them bits. And that kibble's just sawdust, this shit is all rust. Not a great look, you're what we'd call all nuts. And I for one did not see that coming. Cracking open books, yo, that's a lot of money. Meanwhile over here rewiring features. More critical thinking, less knee-jerk. More evolution, less shitcoin preachers pretending to be teachers. Y'all just predatory leeches. I mean please, just look at the track record. A bunch of VC rap fucks sucking up the cheddar. The recipe is 2 steps, rinse and repeat. Now we all in your butts and we bring in receipts. GM fam, have a seat.
If you're listening to this, my plea to you would be like, don't have to take a side on it. Just say like, is it really worth this war of attrition? It might cost us a lot more than what can be gained by like fighting this to the bitter end. And sometimes it's better to just like move on.
TerraSpaces.